Hello and welcome to Revamped, a rewatch podcast covering my all-time favorite shows and movies. I'm your host, Brandon Alexander.
And I'm your co-host, Courtney Autumn.
Together, we've been journeying through Buffy the Vampire Slayer, patrolling the streets of Sunnydale, but now our path expands beyond the Hellmouth as we continue to follow Buffy's battles and growth.
We also step into the shadowy streets of Los Angeles to join Angel on his quest for redemption and his fight to discover what it truly means to be a champion.
Venture with us through every episode in order as we experience the story from two perspectives, Courtney's first-time watch and my seasoned rewatch, doubling down on the themes and moments that shape the Buffyverse.
We'll examine pivotal choices, major story arcs, and explore the deeper layers of each show's continued character growth and development.
All while engaging in conversations and sharing our own authentic thoughts and feelings to what's unfolding before us.
So sharpen your stakes, ready your swords,
and continue to stand with us against the forces of darkness as we journey through the supernatural worlds of Buffy the Vampire Slayer
and Angel.
Let's get into this episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Revamped. Today, we are back to cover Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Season 4, Episode 3.
The Harsh Light of Day.
Aired October 19th, 1999, written by Jane Espenson and directed by James A. Courtney. I really didn't actually pay that attention that Jane Espenson, except for writing it in here, wrote this episode, and she's like, you know, banned candy territory and all this other stuff. So I'm surprised. Like this, usually her episodes are a little more silly versus serious in tone. You know, like I'm paying that attention literally right now in this moment. And as you guys have already heard as well and know from last time from me, you know, spoiling it ahead, Chris Birch is back with us, aka BuffyDood, to cover this episode. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here. This is actually one of my favorite season 4 episodes, and I don't know why, because I watch it so many times and I'm like, why do I like this one so much again? I don't know. Let's find out.
Did I give you stuff to choose from and I was just like, pick one, and you picked this one? I think that's maybe how that happened.
Yeah.
I'm always nice with you. Usually I message people and I'm like, this is the episode I would like you to choose from or do this, but you're like, I'll choose 6, and I'm like, all right, great, you'll be here all of season 4. No, we landed on this one. This is a good one, though. I was excited to get a guest. I think I put this in my list of ones that I wanted to do with a guest because I feel like this one just needs the extra energy in the room with us, the extra voice, the extra perspective, and it'll make it fun because there's a lot of different stuff that go on in it. That being said, in this one, Buffy explores a new relationship but is burned when he turns out to be a fuckboy, leaving her emotionally raw and questioning herself. Just when she's at her lowest, Spike returns to Sunnydale with his new lover turned vampire, Harmony Kendall, in search of an ancient gem buried beneath Sunnydale that grants vampires immortality, or immunity, invincibility, all the things. Because he's already immortal, but you know what I mean? Like, he has the extension on living longer than he already was going to be living. Guest stars, we know all of them. James Marsters as Spike, Mercedes McNabb returning as what I wrote, vampire Harmony Kendall, and stupid ass jerkface Parker Abrams, and I can't remember his name because I didn't write it in here, but he is unfortunately in a little pop in here and there in all the episodes. But Harmony is back. That's the first thing I wrote in my opening thoughts. That's the biggest surprise. Whenever me and Courtney were getting ready to watch the episode, or even the last recording, I said that I was excited for her just to witness the first 3 minutes of the episode because you find out that Harmony's back. And I don't think she even remembered what was happening with Harmony. Like whenever she came on the screen, whenever the credits came on, I had to look at Courtney and be like, do you remember where we last saw Harmony? And she's like, had to think on it. She's like, oh yeah, she got bit by that vampire, like in the final battle, like during graduation day ceremony. And I was like, exactly. So for them to surprise us with this, like, is a real treat to find that Harmony, like, and then the Harmony that we see along the whole episode is still Harmony, just she's a vampire. It's fun. I don't know. I like that they brought her back and how it like pays off. What do you guys think of Harmony returning?
It was crazy. That was crazy and unexpected, like you said, because you don't really think too much about it when you see her last. You just assume she's dead, probably. I don't know. So the fact that, like you said, they brought her back and made it relevant to when we saw her last, because obviously that's totally plausible, and that it's so oddly fitting for her character to be a vampire. Like, it's giving modern day Drusilla energy in a way. Like she kind of replaces her role next to Spike perfectly. So I was as shocked as I was also here for it because it just threw in the extra chaos I think that this episode needed. Otherwise, it would have been just like a regular old day for a girl.
I think it's interesting how opposing she is to Drusilla because her energy is like completely different. She is still paired with Spike. And I mean, you see a lot of similar energy that Spike used to give Drusilla, especially in early season 2 when she was still weak and stuff, but in a different way because he treated Drusilla almost like she was this on a pedestal for him, like she was his everything,
very fragile.
Yeah, and even when she was strong again, like he still yearned for her. I mean, he fought to get her back. That was the whole issue towards the end, why he wanted to pair it with Buffy to defeat Angelus, because he wanted to get Drew back. He wanted to rip her away from him because he cared about her that much. He could give shit two fucks about Harmony. Like clearly, as we see all across the episode leading up to the final moment, technically, that we see between those two. Like, it's insane.
And Drusilla keeps on asking as well. Drusilla asks and keeps mentioning different countries early in series 2, and he doesn't flip out and try and stake her, but he was like straight for the heart with Harmony for France. He just really doesn't want to go back to Paris.
That bitch kept bringing it up to him. Like, do you realize how hard it would be? Like, technically, I mean, I guess they've traveled all over the place, but I mean, you gotta either pick a night flight to go.
I know there's so many circumstances.
That's gonna take like a whole week.
No, you know they have to stop halfway and like hide underground or something.
Like, no, they can't have sun-facing windows. They can't just go on a cruise. I mean, they could, but they just need to stay on the boat. I don't know. It's a whole thing. I'm just like.
That's why he's trying to get the ring so he can take those flights.
So he can, but she can't. Right. What's he going to do? Split it in half and give it to her? Like,
another example of how he doesn't care.
I wonder how that works. It's very interesting they made the gem a ring as well, like specifically versus like the necklace he was wearing. I mean, obviously the ring isn't as like easily removed as like that necklace. You could just accidentally break that chain that he thinks is the gem at the end or towards the end of the episode. So the ring makes sense, but I don't know. I would think it'd be like something that you ingest or something like that. It's just like within you forever. You insert it under your skin like a microchip or some shit.
I mean, I actually think the reason I do love this episode is because of Harmony. Whenever I watch one of these episodes, I always try and think back to the first time I watched it. And like you, Courtney, I don't think I recalled what happened to Harmony in the last episode, and I was just like, oh cute, Harmony's back. And then when she like vamps out, I was just like, oh shit, I forgot that happened. But I love Harmony. Like, no, obviously no spoilers, but I prefer her as a vampire going forward. I absolutely love Harmony.
And like to touch base on like kind of what we've already been saying and what you just brought it back to, we just assume when you see her on the screen, maybe she was at the Bronze this night, happened to see Willow packing up as she was leaving, and you're like, oh, well, she got bit by a vampire. Maybe she got pulled off of it or something like that and didn't get sired. But that means that vampire like literally was over there doing fucking titty scratches like Darla whenever all the rest of the students are fighting these demons and shit. And like the big snake is just behind them, and she's like, I'm gonna take the 2 seconds to sire you really quick. Like, what? It just doesn't make sense. Like, it would be different if you, like in Twilight, when you get bit and the venom is injected into you and then you become a vampire. But there's this whole process that has to go down. So like, it's interesting, but at the same time, like most things on this show, it's out of sight, out of mind, and we don't have to actually have seen the scene for the thing to have happened, you know. But whatever it is, I'm glad we got here, because like you said, Chris, I'm so excited for the future of being able to, for the potential of Harmony to come in whatever capacity that is. And obviously we know at this rate what that is. And we just, unfortunately, as Courtney was saying the other day when we were sitting and talking in person, she's like, it sucks sometimes when we have all these guests on and y'all can't, like, y'all have to hold it. She's like, I would not be able to do that. Like, hold it in and not spoil anything.
I would not be able to be a guest on a spoiler-free podcast about something I've seen before. I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. Oop,
Leia.
Oh, sorry.
She's like, I would be Leia.
Literally.
Well, I managed it last time. See if I could do it again.
Literally, though. I was saying a little bit ago, though, the concept of the Gem of Amara is really interesting, that it grants a vampire some invulnerability. I like the aspect of that, and that this type of thing exists. And of course it's in fucking Sunnydale, but I think it's a cool reason to have Spike return and to be our threat this week, and obviously to roll over into a crossover episode. I will say right now that we didn't get a chance to watch the Angel episode that follows this. So Courtney does not have the information for that episode. So we kind of have to treat this episode just like this. Most of the time we have watched both back to back, but we have not done that yet. That being said, like, I like that aspect of the gym. I also like how not only does Spike return and Harmony return, we get the return of Anya in this episode. And in an interesting way, because, you know, when she comes back, she's over here trying to comfort Xander. And I think it's interesting that they decided to bring her back in that way, because she could have just popped up or whatever, but she still seems to be like a little obsessed with him, I would say, if that's the right word. Not really obsessed, but she doesn't understand social normalcy or like social skills or like anything social aspect wise, how anything works, because she's been a demon for forever. She hasn't had to do any of this as an aspect, and watching her try to figure out her footing, and then just like being, I don't know, it's the really true first taste of blunt Anya that we get in this episode, because on the last series, like, we didn't get to see that from her in season 3. We saw a little bit of it, but we were still dealing with her more as a demon, and then her turning straight into a human and trying to, like, you know, she went to prom with Xander, obviously, but all she did was talk about her demon past. She didn't have anything to relate to him about. So it's interesting to see where we find her now. Were you surprised to see her pop up on the screen when she came back, and then just see her throughout the episode and have sex with Xander? Not to jump ahead crazily, but
I mean, she successfully got what she was after, but yeah, it was strange to see her. She's someone I sometimes forget about, and like you said, the fact that she comes back and she's still kind of obsessed with Xander is odd. And then you just wonder, where the hell has she been this whole time? And I guess just, like, I don't know, standing in front of her Xander shrine or something. And the way that she just marches into Giles' house and basically, like, starts demanding him to get out is too much, but very on brand. But I loved seeing her. And I think that, again, just like with Harmony, it's really, she brings an interesting energy into the episode and into the show, especially as someone who's this obsessed with Xander, when we're usually seeing Xander in the position of being obsessed with someone else. So
they had to fill these spaces too. We had Angel and Cordelia leave this show, so they've kind of got to bring in new energy every now and again, like between Parker or Kathy or all these other people that we've seen as fresh faces. They have to fill screen time and interactions with characters, because you can't just see the same ones.
Yeah, no, I think it was interesting as well. You have the Anya and the Harmony, that's kind of the split of Cordelia's two characters, and you've got the straight talking and you've got the bitchiness, and like the element that's missing, both of them bringing that element back to the show. But I also felt like it's interesting, having just rewatched the beginning half of season 4. Episode 1 and 2 is very much about move forward. These are the new bits. Episode 3 is very much like, oh, don't forget these. Here's Devon, remember him. Here's Harmony. Here's Anya. And even they kept on talking about Buffy's bite on her neck, and there was lots of elements where it was like old, and talking about the past.
Reminding you, yeah.
And the first two, were very much about moving forward.
Without giving like a full statement, because I want to have a whole conversation in a sense at the very end, kind of like after all the Parker stuff has kind of cleared out and the Buffy energy has cleared out, but like maybe give a simple statement, and this is my question within it. How do we feel about Buffy this episode?
Oh my god, what's wrong with her?
I empathize. I've been there. Like, I've done stupid.
We all have.
Like, if I'm putting my mind at, how old is she at this point?
18,
20,
bro. What are you talking about? She's literally fresh out. She has her 19th birthday this year.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. I think college and uni's older for us in the UK. Yeah. I think so.
We're fresh 18-year-olds, but barely adults.
Yeah, exactly. So I definitely would be making those sorts of stupid mistakes. So it's very much why Buffy, why. But yeah.
For me, it's more her attitude around it. I get like everything that she comes from, but just seeing this version of Buffy chase after this guy, and I don't know, not be able to like take it, like more towards the end. Like she doesn't see it coming. She's just experiencing college.
Yeah.
I get it and stuff like that. But she has this like naivete about her this episode. And even like Meredith, Courtney's partner, was watching the episode with us. And she's like, Buffy's kind of annoying this episode. Like, why is she running and chasing this dude? Can't you like understand what he's saying type thing? Like, why are you like, I don't know, she almost feels like a cowardice dog or something.
Why don't you
like,
just let it go, kind of?
and not that like we need to say that Buffy needs to let it go. Like we can't make her decisions for her. I'm just like so surprised with that someone so strong is taking something in this way. But it's a messy situation in general. I just expected differently kind of watching it of her. I didn't expect her to be fiending and yearning for somebody as much, but maybe some interesting stuff will come up as we actually go through the episode. The last thing I really personally myself want to say is we get a journey back to like an epic fight scene, and epic being the fact that it's like Spike versus Buffy. It's not, you know, Buffy versus Kathy or Buffy versus the vampire like Sunday in episode 1. You know, Spike is back, and we haven't seen him since Lover's Walk last season. He popped in for one specific episode. He kidnapped Willow and Xander. Like, he didn't get a chance to get his ass kicked by Buffy last year. And he was there at a different capacity. And now he's back. And this time it's kind of scarier than ever because he does become invincible. He does get the gem. And even though Buffy continues to fight his ass, like him being paired potentially with like Harmony, like within the episode, that could have been more diabolical if Harmony wasn't so almost naive herself and just aloof. There's this future scene that I'm thinking of that like I actually just watched myself recently that is so funny. Like when it comes to Harmony and how she operates as a vampire, it's just so silly. But can you imagine if it had been like Spike and Drusilla, and Spike and Harmony actually came full force for this bitch or something, got her later on that night after the sun, came back in general. But I like the fight sequence that we get because where it takes place, we get our first on college campus fight. No one ironically is around or able to see this and stuff, but it's the one venue for showdown that you wouldn't expect in the daylight. We've never seen Buffy take on, or anybody on the show take out, a vampire in the daytime. You know what I mean? In within a fight and stuff like that. The way it does it, except for Angel over on his first episode where he kicked the dude out the fucking window and he's all burning up and stuff. Like that's, I don't know. It's whatever. I don't know where I was really going with that, but I just wanted to talk about the fight scene ending right there because that's a big portion of what makes me really like the episode. As a kid and watching it growing up, I always couldn't wait to get to the very end for Spike to turn up on Buffy and to see how she handles the fact that, oh shit, you've got this gem we've been talking about the whole episode. What am I about to do now? Because he goes in on her and he almost gets her. Technically, he does until he chooses to like open his mouth and continue to talk and piss her off more and give her some fuel for more fire, you know, which we'll get to.
And Xander. Like, credit where it's due, Xander did help out a lot in that fight.
Yes, I even put that in my notes.
How the fuck did Xander help out this episode?
He creeps in the background and then because
he like intervenes in the fight kind of, or he has his best attempt.
I originally wrote my notes, Xander comes out of nowhere, and I had forgotten that he was knocking on Buffy's door, like trying to get her, like because they were like split up and find Buffy, and he just already happened to be on campus, so maybe he was just walking back because he was there and he decided to snoop over. I was like, Xander, what are you going to do at Spike? Wild. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and start the episode because, you know, the best way to talk about it is while we go through it. So we open with a return of the Bronze as our hangout night spot as Dingo's Ate My Baby perform as Buffy and Willow sit nearby watching the performance. Willow brings up the fact that Parker is there and is apparently attractive in green. Buffy correcting her, the color is teal because, you know, she doesn't have to like seem. She's like, well, how do you know this? And she's like, well, I'm looking up at the reflection on the little medallion, whatever you want to call those things that people in businesses have, so that way they can keep an eye on you, but you can't keep an eye on them type thing. Like that's how they be catching you. You ever been in Claire's in a mall? Like I don't know if y'all have Claire's over in the UK, but in Claire's the ceiling is like lined with like angled mirrors, not only so that way you can try on the jewelry and look at yourself in the mirror, but like they're able to keep an eye on you exactly because you could walk off with anything at any moments. Not that the Bronze is really worried about that, but it's just like a protection kind of thing element. That's what it made me think of.
We have Claire's.
Do you?
But unfortunately they've gone into administration recently, so
I don't think we have Claire's really anymore either. I think it's closed here. I mean, there's probably a collective amount of few stores. I don't know. I don't go shopping at actual physical locations half the time anymore. Not like malls or Tanger or anything like that. or Claire's. The only thing
full stop.
I bought earrings from there before I had gauges, and I think I tried to steal Pirates of the Caribbean gum when I was like 13 from them, and they caught me. She goes, enjoy your gum, and I was like, oh no, I totally it's in my hand. Oh my god, it was in my hand. I had it hiding, but I was like, oh my god, I'm so stupid. My friend had bought stuff, so I was like, I forgot. I'm so sorry. I just turned around and went back and paid for it because I totally had the money. I just thought I was doing something, like it was dumb. You put the
A rebel without a
gum on your
cause.
tongue, and it made Jack Sparrow's imprint on your tongue like as a tongue tattoo for like 5 seconds.
You remember when they had those on fruit roll-ups?
Yes, because
And you like hold the fruit roll-up on your tongue and it would leave a tongue
toxic
tattoo.
candy.
Chris is like, what the
Look at
fuck
his
kind of
face.
American ass bullshit? He's like, I am never going to America.
He's
That
been
is crazy.
Again, no, but we used to have like the only thing from Claire's that I remember were did you have shag bands?
Yes, the bracelets that were different
yes.
colors and stuff. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then you
Shag
had
bands.
snapped them. You had that's such a who came up with that concept? Because it was
I
like
know.
you were like 10
And
or
we're
something
like,
with them.
yeah, exactly. I was like 12 years old. What was
I
that?
rarely had colored ones. Most of the time, I just wore the black ones because like that was also
Me
like a punk
Same.
element, like an alternative thing to wear them crisscross on your arm or multiples. And obviously, it became a trend for
Yes,
it to
I
be like
remember that.
as he's identifying as shag bands, but like different people had different colors. So sometimes, like every now and again, when I
No, I
did
like
have
that
a different
term.
color, people would be coming up to me and be like, "Ooh," and I'm like, I just like the color blue. I did not suck some guy's dick. That is not what that was there for. Like I did probably, but I didn't get that because of that. Like it's not a lay or like I didn't go to Mardi Gras and show my tits and that's how I have beads. Like that is not the idea. Either way, Buffy has been staring at his reflection in the mirror as he plays pool, which turns out he has a reflection, so that's a plus. Speaking of shirts, don't think I didn't catch, because I know we like get very minimal Devin in the episode, but he had a crop top on the stage whenever he was singing, and I was like, look at him showing off his half belly and stuff. Like that was irregular for this time, because that was whenever men were starting to cover more of their bodies up, and I was like, of course he's punk alt, like he's in a band, so he's going to do something to like push past the status quo and all that stuff. But I was like, cute little Devin, but this is the only instance we see him besides like packing up with Willow here in a second.
He looked hot, and like the jacket, he pulled it off
Mhm.
well and still looked like he was in a band, even though the jacket was the most femme thing. It was like this flowery, glittery jacket.
Paired with the crop top.
I could have imagined paired with a crop top, and yeah, unless you were like really focused on what it was. I mean, he pulled it
Devin
off.
sucks dick sometimes. He's pansexual. I know it. He's into whatever. Clearly, because we're going to hear some things. We learn that the two, Buffy and Parker, have been spending some time together this past week before the band closes up, and Oz comes over to nab the girls to head out. But Parker comes up to nab Buffy himself, guised as a safe walk back to her dorm if she prefers, instead of leaving with her friends. And since she's having not so wrong lusty feelings, she agrees heading out with him. I apologize, but when you see this more times than once, you cringe at any moment when Buffy and Parker are on the
Every
fucking
time.
screen. Like when he popped up and he's like, "You want me to walk you home?" Like when I first watched it, I was like, "He's so cute. I love his eyebrows." When he popped up in Living Conditions, I was like, "Oh, look at him letting her cut him in line." And then from this point forward, and rewatching, and then also a couple of other things that occur as we move on I would say up to like a few episodes from now, we still see a couple little moments with him. Spoiler alert, breadcrumb, whatever you want to call it, can't say it, but you get this repulsive, like I want to like vomit everywhere when his face comes on screen, just because of who he is in persona is disgusting. I was like,
I'm glad you said that, because I realized, because I had to rewatch some of it, because obviously we were together and I didn't take notes like while we were actively watching it through my first time. So when I was rewatching it, I literally thought that to myself. I was like, oh damn, I need to really start taking notes the first time I watch it, because now that I know what I know, I won't have notes from the perspective like you're saying that you would your
Well, at
first
least
time.
you
We're like,
do it
oh,
that
he's
way,
a
though.
gentleman, or oh, he's being sweet. And now I'm like, here goes this motherfucker, like planting manipulation seeds. And
you don't get your first take
like,
perspective. But something like this, I think that's fair,
So
because now you're in a space with us in a way, knowing just from this episode, rewatching it, being like, knowing what he does by the end of the episode and how he's treating people, women in general, not just Buffy.
yeah, I know. I just wish I could see like how different my notes would be had I actively been jotting things down through my first watch of it, because I'm sure, like you said, I would have just assumed he was being like a nice gentleman, and instead now I'm like this douchebag.
Yeah, I continue like to swear throughout my notes and just call him so many names as whenever he came on.
Please say them all.
I was getting so wound up anytime he comes on. Like, he's just an absolute piece of shit. Like, but you're having that perspective, aren't you? You're having Buffy's perspective when you first watched it, because yeah, what a gentleman.
Of course, yeah. And you don't really get like a terrible energy off of him to begin with, whereas
He knows.
most times you have at least like a little bit of wiggle room. Like when they first introduced Angel as a character, he was very mysterious. There wasn't a lot to go on. You could assume good or bad with him, you know, but with Parker, I feel like we were introduced to him in such a neutral space that it was almost like you didn't think to think ahead about their romantic future. And so when all this stuff transpires, you're just like, oh, okay, cool, I hate you now.
Parker gets a lot of hate, and it will continue. Out back, we find the band loading up Oz's van with their band shit as Willow helps, leaving her behind to go grab the last bit of the equipment, leaving Willow behind, I guess I should say a little more clearly. We hear a familiar voice call out her name as she turns to see Harmony behind her, who we haven't seen since...
You since graduation. Big snake, huh? Yeah. So, how was your summer vacation?
They briefly chat about how summer vacation went for Harmony, or didn't go, as we should say, because, you know, she didn't go to France as she hoped for all the shopping, definitely not for the museums. They share a laugh, and Harmony claims Willow hasn't changed a bit, Willow mirroring her statement back at her, but we find Harmony has changed, and not something little, as she claims, but something big, as her face morphs into a vampire and she lunges for Willow in shock, biting into her neck. We fade to black and cue the Buffy theme. Meow, 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 meow.
I'm delayed, sorry. It's UK time difference.
It's okay. It's just a little second. I just hope I'm not talking so fast that you're like waiting for me to catch up before like we've started another sentence.
It's okay. I just
super cool way to do this. I know everybody has to be shocked. I know we talked about it in our opening thoughts, but like anybody watching this for the first time, you're like, holy fucking shit, that's so crazy. Also, Willow about to get eat up, so like, what the fuck? Like, insane. Harmony is pulled from Willow by Oz with a mic stand before he pulls a cross on her, and she scoffs as Willow hides behind her boyfriend. But news flash, Harmony has a boyfriend too.
And he's gonna be mad that you were mean to me.
Okay, Harmony. I wrote immediately, he will not be. He won't give a fuck. And I like the fact that Oz protected Willow because he's the only good boyfriend, aka guy, we will see in this episode. Accurate as fuck.
Yes.
Like, I'm so glad he came to her defense real quick. I'm so glad he was coming back out with more stuff. Harmony just does not know how to execute timing, and she runs off as we cut over to Buffy and Parker walking back towards campus on Main Street, chatting about her hobbies, you know, the ones that she really can't express because most of them include stabbing, beheading, and lots of night activity among monsters. So she's like, I can't tell you any of what I do, and I also have not come up with excuses in the 3 years I've been the Slayer to be like, oh, I like, you know, reading tarot cards here and now and again. My friend's a witch, and I really like going out to the movies every now and again because, you know, we've seen her at the movies with Angel. She's like, I like ice skating. I mean, these are the things you say that you like to do, Buffy. She just leaves it really aloof. In this dialogue, he does catch a glimpse of the bite mark scar on her neck, which is very interesting. They decided to put this here for her. She claims it's from an angry puppy, not at all from two vampires, because as we know, the Master and technically Angel drank from the same exact spot, which is very interesting that the Master didn't leave a scar, but now they've got the scar that Angel left her, so I don't really get the ordeal here. Usually people just have two puncture wounds, but this whole, like, Angel's track mark from every line of his teeth is there. Not just the point, not just two little scar dots. Like, literally, it looked like he gnarled on this bitch. And maybe that's exactly why, because he was like thirsting for that blood and ripping her ass in. Like, we saw him hike her up into him in Graduation Day Part 2. It wasn't just he sunk his teeth down into her. So maybe it was like more of a vicious attack, and that's why it left a scar behind. But our Slayer's supposed to scar. Should she have a scar?
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought, I mean, it's interesting for a story. It's interesting for like this moment and some stuff we'll see later that Buffy has been tasted.
It's the only time though, I think, that other one you mentioned.
Yeah, well, oh wait, the one I just secretively mentioned. I got you. You saw where I was going with that.
You have been tasted.
He was
Unworthy.
Yeah.
But I like the reminder, like you kind of were saying in your opening thoughts, like how they call back to so much this episode. This is that first little taste of that. And she wonders if Parker has any scars. He claims his are psychological and goes into a sap story about how his father died recently, and she feels bad for bringing up his wounds and such. We find out that he's cool with it and voices that he's not doing the sad get sympathy routine, except he is. Like the fug. Poor Buffy tries to relate to his stance on living in the now after past traumas and confides in him about how she drowned once before and is on the same page. I do like the idea of sharing trauma here and connecting, because usually this is how you start to connect with somebody. I mean, maybe not trauma dumping, but just saying, like, I've had these instances where like relationships weren't easy or life hasn't been easy, but now I like the be here now stance that Parker's kind of taking, like live in the moment. Like I don't worry about the past or the future. I kind of just exist right now. Anybody would get off to that kind of conversation, especially if you're open-minded and you like growth and to, you know, live profoundly within your own life with meaning and purpose. So no wonder he's like, but he knows this is his bait and hook with his like tackle and shit like that. He also is using stuff like this, as we will come to find later, as an emotionally manipulative tactic to get intimacy from women. So this is why we don't like Parker, just because the means of going there. He's not saying from jump, oh, I just want to hook up, and leaving it clear as day as that, you know? But and like in this moment before you see the stuff later, because we're still liking Parker because of what's happening right now, we're like thinking maybe this is a good little match for Buffy. You feel sorry for him. Buffy feels sorry for him. You see Buffy getting vulnerable with him. So you're like, oh, okay, this could be going somewhere interesting. It does not, spoiler alert.
Yeah, this also, you know, when you said earlier about him being a fuckboy, I think it's too much credit. I think he's worse than a fuckboy. A fuckboy's better because at least he's just going, I'm down to have fun, that's it. Like, he's just, he's an emotional vampire. He's awful.
Ooh, he's a vampire this episode, but an emotional sucker.
Yes.
Look at Chris coming up with a whole thing. I like that because we don't just get...
Put that in the metaphor section.
Yeah.
He feels connection, you know, that thing we learned about last week on Angel, and Buffy questions him about what that's fun because we just recorded that. Buffy questions him about what he will regret not doing today before going to sleep, him taking this opportunity to ask her to a party the following night that he's been pondering, and she agrees. And you know, inside Parker's mind, it was him saying like, I'm regretting not taking you home right now to fuck you and leave you right now. I'm just like, Parker, I hate to be in this fucker's head.
He'd be snapping her shag bands right now if he had the chance. He would really be going for it. Like, Parker collects them. He's got loads of them in his dorm. If he was in the 90s, he'd have a pile of them broken.
He should have dropped some off when he dropped off the Ziploc bags.
Seriously. Seriously. That,
like, for real.
That was his shag bags. We go over to Giles' home and we find Xander helping him organize his books, not so well, and we see why he's not in college, because he can't even conceive the concept of alphabetical order.
Enjoying this. Well, show them correctly and we can finish. I don't get your crazy system. My system? It's called the alphabet. Huh. Would you look at that?
Like, what? We hear the door open and Giles moves towards it, and we find the person who has just walked in is a familiar face as well, that of Anya. This brown wig or hair that she's got, look at Chris, your face looking up at the screen immediately.
I know, what is
I do not care for it at all.
Like,
it's so ugly. I liked her hair last season because this has to be a wig. I don't know what was going on, or if they just blew out her hair on. It's too like lumpy and big up at the front. It looks like I don't know, almost like Brie Vandekamp with like a poppet band in it or something, like, because it kicks out a little on the ends. It's awkward. I don't know, something's going on. It's like a wig topper or something. Me as a hair,
it is
regardless. Me as a hairdresser saw it, like, see it every single time nowadays, and I'm just like, what are they doing with her? I mean, I know Anya is known to change her hair color around. We've even just seen that from her being on the show before, because she had like a nice dirty blonde with a few highlights when we first saw her come meet Cordelia in The Wish, but by the time we got to the prom, she had this like kind of caramel, like blonde beigey tone going on, and very weedy colored, but it was still that of her hair. This just does not look like organic or real at all, so I don't know what's going on. I had to stop for this is my fashion no.
This is completely off topic. Well, kind of not. But she is actually the hardest person to draw because of her hair. She's very beautiful, but she doesn't have that many kind of like defining features to put into a cartoon character, or it's more like, whereas the rest of them have all got very defining things, whereas she's just pretty with her hair changing constantly.
That is true.
So whenever I have to draw her, I'm like, oh, here we go again.
Really? That's fun to know, though. I like that, because that's a little dip. You're here with us as our guest. That's a little dip into your world and how you relate to, like, well, I mean, nobody else knew that when it comes to Anya. I didn't know that. I've seen your few pictures of Anya, but now I know exactly why there's 4,000 pictures of everyone else and hardly any of Anya. And then by choice, there's, you know, very little Spike and Xander. So here we are.
The other Buffy like creators I speak to as well, like they all say the same. Like it is harder to draw her, so it's definitely not just a me thing. Everyone does feel like that about Anya,
and I feel like she has so many iconic looks and things like that to really pull from. But like you said, I don't know. I mean, like artist.
I did her in the bunny outfit. Oh,
you didn't say anything.
I didn't hear it. So you're good.
Well, you cut yourself off mid thing, so like it doesn't really matter. I think Courtney's probably seen the sticker on my laptop that's of that anyways too, but it's not in her mind at this time. Anyways, moving along. Speaking of things we haven't seen or heard, we haven't seen Anya since she fled in terror from the Ascension, aka graduation. She claims that she needs to talk to Xander, and since Giles doesn't budge, she demands that he go away. This is so funny. This is the first taste of her bluntness. She's like, just looks at him and she's like, leave. And he's like, and then he just like puts his hands on his hips. He's like, bitch, this is my house. And she's like, come with me, Xander. Because, you know, he doesn't budge. So she pulls him outside to chat in that cute ass courtyard. And they immediately go into, or she immediately goes into where their relationship is going, what it is and heading.
Our what? Our who?
Relationship. What kind do we have, and what is it progressing toward?
We have a relationship.
We went to the prom.
This whole thing right here is insane, just to think about the way she like springs this on Xander. But she mentions like they went to the prom, their one and only date. She tells him that she can't get him off her mind, especially him being naked in her dreams. But he is confused when she brings up them continuing to date and voices that these things have to naturally unfold, not be sprung on people. Xander mentions being nude in the checkout line at Walmart whenever Anya mentions his dream. And I thought it was interesting to hear like a Walmart drop of the times, because usually people didn't talk about Walmart. I think one of the first times you heard Walmart really be dropped on a TV show was like the reality wise with Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie over on The Simple Life, because she had that whole like, what is Walmart? Do they sell walls there? But even though I think I heard later it was for the bit, like Paris Hilton totally knew what Walmart was, because who didn't? But like, I don't know. It just reminds you, because like Walmart is still a thing, but there's so many other stores now. I don't think Walmart is a UK store, but most people in America, that was like where we all went to do everything to buy. Like that's where I got all of my Buffy DVD and Angel DVD box sets back in the day, all that type of stuff. So to me, that was just like, oh, look at my little small town self. That was our like, that's where we went to hang out if it wasn't Sonic or like whatever.
What's the other one? Like the big one? I've been to the.
There's probably a lot.
If it's not Walmart, what's
Kmart?
the other one?
Back in the 90s, it was Kmart.
No.
There's like, damn.
What's the Target?
Oh, see, now that's replaced in most people's eyes of Walmart nowadays. Like people still go to Walmart, but Target is essentially the new version of today's. Yes.
It is, because sometimes I see kids just hanging out.
Yeah, well, they're chilling at Starbucks.
For real.
We didn't have Starbucks in Walmart.
I mean, I'll make a absolute stop in a Target if I'm in the States, because I'm like, it's like an airport compared to our supermarkets in the UK.
True.
It's crazy.
True.
I also like that in this conversation, he notes the graduation snake thing like Harmony did in the beginning, because I didn't say it in the dialogue, but whenever they say, you know, we haven't seen you since graduation, Harmony just looks at Willow and she's like, big snake, huh? I like it because it becomes this common reference as the snake, the big snake, to be like a sum up of what graduation was like or how the ceremony went in general. We'll hear this in the future, no spoiler alert, but like that, it's a fun thing to do it. I was curious though, like, what do y'all think about Anya's approach here with coming and like just springing this on Xander, being so confused about the fact she's like, because she literally says like, what is our relationship and where is it heading? And he's like, whoa, we have a relationship. In her eyes, this has been her boyfriend for the last 7 months, even though she's been inactive.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense, because the only time she's had interactions, I guess, with men, it has been to torture or do something horrible to them. So he's in her mind, and it's been a thousand years. And I guess she's not had to think about a man other than tormenting them. So she's just very confused. And she's probably just verbalizing it rather than trying to get to the answer herself. She's like, he's there, he has to give me the answer. So I'm just going to go blurt it out and see what happens.
I feel like that's interesting that she's only killed people before, and like this is the first guy that she's like, so she hasn't been able to get him off her mind like that. But like at the same time, still, I'm just like, I don't know, so dumbfounded by like the way she like chooses to spring this on him in this way, because the way she doesn't know how to talk to people, as we'll come to learn really as well too. So there's just like almost like a language barrier here, kind of like whenever Xander was courting Ampasta technically back in the day, the Inca mummy girl, whenever, because she didn't have like, she knew things because she had picked up and stuff and heard, but he had to like introduce her to like Twinkies and talk to her like about going to the dance and doing things, because she was killed at such a young age and she lived in a whole other culture. She hasn't been able to live these lives. So it's interesting also how he just keeps getting paired up with this similar type of energy. But I do like how the stance that Xander takes with Anya, really kind of across the episode, but especially here, to let her know and inform her this is actually how these types of things happen. You know, go on set. He doesn't say it like this, but he's basically chalking up like, we need to date first, or like go on maybe a few more dates and see if we really like each other, if there's anything like that.
You need to confirm someone wants to date you first. That's the first fucking step.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was crazy though. I think the whole like just gesture of barging into a stranger's, well, technically a stranger's house, says enough, you know, about like how she is socially, because obviously the normal thing to do is to ring someone's doorbell or knock on their door.
Doesn't
or
she say something like
alert.
you should lock your door or something like that? Like,
yeah, and he's like, I wish I did, because but so I think it's funny to see how the first time we see her in a while is the very way in which we're kind of perceiving her socially anyways, which is just like completely clueless to what the normal thing to do is and how to normally behave and normally interact and establish these dynamics with people. So it doesn't really surprise me. I think what's more shocking to me is that she's lived so long and had all these other experiences that is it like a reverse curse on her to be obsessed with Xander or something? Because I'm like, out of all the people you've come across, it's Xander.
She's heard all these instances too from all these people that she's helped curse these men and known what they did to them. And I mean, that's obviously been like a forefront for her. But she just have learned experience like of knowing all these different platforms, how to like operate. I don't know, it's just interesting. But like you just said too, it's fun where we find her just in a little bit, she's still socially confused on like how to go about doing things and stuff like that. So she doesn't get what she wants here, so she tries something else a little bit later. She's like, where can my tactics be? What assets do I have that I can help produce the effect that I'm looking for?
She takes a more primal approach.
Everyone does. Buffy and Parker make it back to her dorm, and the two almost share a kiss before Willow and Oz run up telling her that Harmony is back and appearing paler than normal as a way of coding the talk in front of Parker, keeping up and continuing with this season on Buffy and Angel, where we will do anything but call a vampire a vampire. This has been a running joke for us. You'll hear it in our content. Buffy gets on board fast when Parker spots Willow holding her wounded neck, and it's the angry puppy back at it again. She shoves Parker off with plans to see him at the party tomorrow so that they can, I think I wrote shoes, but it wrote shoves. She doesn't shove him, just so y'all know, she does not push him across the room.
She should have.
Exactly. Maybe that's maybe it was a Freudian slip right there. She says she'll see him at the party tomorrow so that way they can get Willow a much needed band-aid. In the room, the three discuss Harmony's changes and her comments about having a boyfriend, landing on the fact that whatever undead dude is dating her must be the most tolerant guy in the world. Fun fact, because this guy that she is dating is not the most tolerant guy in the world. I do love in this whole scene where Willow's dragging Harmony about high school. She's like calling her a liar and always claiming her boyfriends went to another school. She's like, she always lied about stuff like that. He goes to another school. You would know him. Like the way she says it. And then like 2 seconds later, she also doubles down on like, my boyfriend's going to beat you up. It's just really funny. And I just like fly back right to graduation day. I think it's the part 2 maybe opening where they're signing the yearbooks and stuff like that. And Harmony is like, I'm gonna miss you, and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna miss you too. And then like she walks off and she calls her a fucking tramp because Buffy's like, don't you hate her? And she's like, yeah, she picked on me for 12 years. I'm just like, whatever. So funny to find it, but I was like, damn, that's crazy. And then in the same little moment, Oz says Devin dated her for a while, but she was too flaky for him, which I thought was interesting because that goes to show that Cordelia and Harmony dated Devin. Because if you don't remember, I know Chris probably does, but Cordelia was fucking around with Devin at the beginning of season 2. She was like hanging out with him, I think, at them. Other than the college boys and Reptile Boy, but in Halloween specifically, when she's like dressed as a cat, she interacts with Oz the first time, and she's like, "Is Mr. I don't show gonna be there at tonight's performance?" And he's like, "Well, he's in the band, so yeah, he's gonna be there, you dumb bitch." Like, and she's like, "Will you tell him that I don't even care? Also, don't even tell him that you saw me." And he's like, "So what do you want me to tell him?" She's like, "Duh, nothing." I had to take Courtney back to the moment. But I think it's interesting that apparently Devin's dated every girl in high school. No girl is safe, like, or at least girls that like seem to be a higher status. I would think Devin would be like after the alt girls, but I guess the girls are also probably fawning over him because he's the lead singer of a local band. So maybe that's the ordeal. He's getting in where the groupies are, no matter who they are.
And he's stealing clothes from their wardrobe as well.
Very, very true. That's exactly what's happening. The last thing I wrote in my notes, though, is like, it's kind of unfortunate because like nobody is out here feeling bad for actual Harmony. They just breeze past the fact that Harmony herself is dead. Her soul is not here anymore. And she's been killed and she's a vampire. They don't say, damn, like, how did she die? Or like, oh, that's unfortunate. They just go straight into like, oh, crap. Like...
Well, put yourself in their position, actually. If you were, is it better? I don't know. No, I guess not, because you'd have had to kill them. Because I was like, if you'd found out someone that you knew was dead, and then a few months later, you'd be like, oh, actually, no, they're not dead. They're a vampire. Would you be like, oh, good for them. They're continuing. Like, I don't know.
On this show, it's not the same. They're not just like some immortal person that's like still has all their energy again, like Twilight or something like that. Her soul essence is gone. So I mean, yeah, it has all the thoughts and the memories of like her, but like actual Harmony is dead. She's in heaven or hell or wherever the fuck exists in an alternate.
But she wasn't the most pleasant. So that's kind of what I was saying like earlier. Her being a vampire perfectly aligns with the kind of personality that we're already used to out of her. So I'm like, in any case scenario, I would breeze past that also because I'm like, oh, well, she's the same.
Yeah. Good for her.
She just needs blood now, but that's it. That's really
this
the only
is the conversation we were having about our dads the other day / not. But I will say like what Chris was saying about like you find out your friend's dead and you're just like, you know, you react whatever way. If Willow had just found out, or even Buffy or anybody of them had just found out like, oh, Harmony's dead, she's having a funeral this week or something like that, I bet you Willow was over there after hearing what she just said right now going, yes, not giving a fuck, being like, oh, I ain't going to her funeral. Like,
I'll send flowers.
I'll send a flower. I'll walk by and throw one. I thought all that was interesting, but we find Harmony underground approaching a man drilling into the wall with other vampires clearly on a mission to find something. She makes it to him announcing her I'm backness, and he takes off his headgear to reveal that he is in fact William the Bloody, aka Spike. Courtney immediately, she was like, oh shit, she didn't expect this at all. And I like it because it's been such a huge gap from seeing Spike. And even when we saw Spike in Lover's Walk, it was a little bit of a gap from seeing him in season 2. Courtney even said in our coverage of Lover's Walk, I had forgotten all about Spike. I didn't even think about him in essence in any way, shape, or form.
No, I didn't.
But the excitement that you immediately get when you see that it's Spike, but also the, oh fuck, this is who Harmony's fucking dated. How the fuck? Like, what the fuck? What is going on? The next morning, we pan below ground to where they are continuing to drill, mapping out where they are tunneling with hopes to remain septic tank free. Because Spike specifically says, I don't want to drill into someone's septic tank because, you know, that's going to be, I don't know, it gives new meaning to our phrase, that sounds dookie. I don't think he'd be saying yum fudge to that one. Chris won't get that, but it's a weird us thing. The vamp mapping is very much treated like Dalton from season 2 as Spike slams his head down onto the table demanding he be sure about his direction. I said in the episode, and I wrote it in my notes here too, I was like, remember when they used to threaten Dalton because he was always like, figure out the text, like they're trying to decipher what the code is to get Drusilla's cure, and he's like always beating up Dalton. Poor Drusilla took his fucking glasses off and stomped them all on the ground and put him back on his face crooked, and then poor Dalton, justice for him still, gets burned the fuck up by the judge as the first potential victim to make him attest his power after he's assembled back together. I was just like, poor Dalton. Clearly, Spike just has this type of treatment to not only the women in his life, but his lackeys as well. It's still a continued energy. So is Harmony really surprised that she gets treated like this? No, she's watching him smash this vampire's thing. Either way, Spike clearly hasn't changed, is my next part of my notes, and saying, except for the fact that he's getting embarrassed in front of his lackeys when Harmony comes up, baby talking her blondie bear and prodding him about killing Willow, something he's not keen on at the moment, since killing the Slayer's best friend may announce his presence back in Sunnydale. I feel so bad for Spike because he's just trying to intimidate this like guy to get him to work and like kind of doing his job as a evil boss. But Harmony comes up and she's like baby talking him, and the vampire's like, I don't take it seriously anymore. It also is our first taste of like why Spike is frustrated being with somebody like Harmony, you know, because he's like, bitch, you just ruined everything right now.
I love her calling him my little blondie bear. Like any nickname that she has so many nicknames for him throughout the show, or however she's in for. But like, I just love the Harmony nicknames for Spike.
We're gonna go ahead and spoil it. We see Harmony a good bit this season. I will say that in that way. Like, maybe not every episode is some big up or something like that, but she's here. Oh, clearly they introduced her for a reason. Makes sense later.
I've figured that much already. Yeah.
I also wanted to note too, in this context of dialogue, she says, you almost killed Buffy last year. And then I was like, no, Spike almost killed Willow and Xander last year. He worked alongside Buffy and Angel to take out the vampires that were sent by the mayor to take his ass out. Which means Spike has told Harmony some bullshit to make him sound tougher. He's like, yeah, I was here to kill Slayer last year and I just didn't get to do it. Like, he's creating this like fabrication of what reality is, as we would expect Spike to do. Like, just like what he did when he came into season 2 and he's like gassing up about how he killed 2 Slayers to the vampires and the anointed one. He's like, who am I kidding? I love to brag. So he's probably done told Harmony so much bullshit that's not legit. Except the fact that he didn't leave Drusilla. Drusilla left him. She clearly knows all of that stuff.
I thought that, and I was like, was she talking about Willow though?
What do you mean?
Because she was like, oh, you nearly killed Willow last year.
Oh my God, did I just go off on a whole tangent?
So I thought that initially, because I was like, but he could have. I mean, it's either way, because he did go. I thought initially he did not kick the shit out of Buffy.
You know what? I just feel so stupid. You're not wrong. I think contextually, because they go from talking about Willow and he's saying, I don't want to announce my presence to the Slayer, and then she goes in saying, well, you nearly killed her last year. She's totally fucking talking about Willow. Oh my God. Do I even know?
It's not unlike Spike, and I initially went there and I think he would have probably still bragged about it and said he went and kicked the crap out of her. He 100% would have done that.
Oh, but this now I'll never watch that the same again because I've never picked up on that. It's because it comes right off of talking about Buffy that I always think like she's talking about him killing Buffy. But you're right, he did almost kill Willow the year before, as I started in that statement. Like initially, I don't know how I missed that. Anyways, moving along. I can just clip all of that, but I'm not going to because I like authenticity and I can take accountability for being stupid. Harmony is bored being stuck down there, complaining about the food that they have being chained up, tasting gross, and how she wants to go out for something fresh. She's like, you never take me out. So yeah, let's go to France. Spike getting hella annoyed with her, jacks her up against the wall, but like Darla from season 1 with Angel, she's very much into it. She voices she wants to go to a party, and he agrees that tonight he will take her out, you know, after shoving her up against the wall 2 more times because he's frustrated with her. Which then brings us to the party at Wolf House, where Biff Naked is performing for a crowd. Buffy and Parker walks through, taking in the space. I like this because we get our first college party here, and this makes the college vibe feel really real on the show. You know, like, because I mean, obviously that's a huge part of college, is exploring that atmosphere, getting out as college nightlife. There's always parties going on. This is where most people are drinking for the first time because we have 21-year-olds on campus, or however, whatever age in college, you know, depending on where you live. Because I think, can y'all drink at 18? Yeah, 18, it's 21 for us, so we still have that few years. But like most people go off after. I mean, high school still ends for you guys around the 18 mark, right? And then y'all go to college and stuff, or is it before that?
I think it's
after.
Oh yeah, actually, it was earlier when I was younger, but then they've started doing like apprenticeships in something.
Sure,
I think
so they get to go earlier. And stuff,
I don't know. It was a long time ago.
I mean, and conceptually, like all throughout the world, like 18 has always been basically kind of like the coming of age, like in most aspects of parts of the world. Now, granted, obviously in some other cultures and stuff, sometimes that's 12, sometimes it's 16. It just really is dependent on like where you're at rurally, but I don't know. But I thought that was interesting.
The party was so fun, and I blame shows like this for giving me like high expectations of what my university was going to
Yeah.
be. And when I got there, I was like, hang on, I did go to some parties like this, but not with like Biff naked and like a full band like that in the
Sure.
living room. But yeah, did you go to anything like this when you was? Did
Well,
you go to
first of
uni
all,
or
Biff
college?
Naked would have never really actually been here. This is just who they got on the show this week, so they decided to put them in this dorm room because people don't know who they are. That would have been more of a bronze type performance, technically, but you know, they did what they did. I didn't go to university. I did go to college, so did Courtney, but like we went for like massage therapy. I went for cosmetology, so it was a focus more workforce training. It wasn't like we
As
went
trade
for like
school.
like to get all your credits and stuff, like have to take all your electives again and like have a major study and a minor study. It wasn't anything like that. And that was what I was about to say. I appreciate about the college vibe that we get to live vicariously through, because as someone that didn't go to university, I wasn't able to live that atmosphere of college about like living in the dorms or going out in the nightlife. Like to me, going to parties where like people having bonfires in my town and all of us meeting up, or sometimes a friend that I had just met. Like I specifically remember this girl Alicia taking me out with some people that we knew from Ballo to this random party, and then I'm just being like immersed in this atmosphere because it was just like this. It was a huge like party, and I didn't know anyone else there. I had to mingle myself because Alicia left me a little bit to go like hang out with some of her friends or just like integrate herself amongst the party, because she was a social butterfly, so she could talk to anybody. Meanwhile, I'm just this little like fucking innocent dude that just got dropped off, and I'm like, who do I talk to? What do I talk about? What do I do? Am I getting drunk? Am I gonna get too drunk? Am I gonna black out? Am I gonna freak out on people because I'm like an interesting character, you know, around this time frame? But not like neither her or I really did this. But that's why, like I was saying, I have appreciation for the episode portraying this, because I kind of got to live vicariously through, you know, whether that be movies or TV shows or anything like that, portraying this. Most of the time it's like overdone, but I think in this setting, this is exactly how a party would be going, because there's nothing crazy going on except vampires are here.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
It's all cool. I think this what really draws me to season 4 and to a lot of these episodes is like I really like the fun element, and like you've got, I love the on-campus setting, but then I also love the we'll talk about it later, but the outdoor sunny bits and like the color of season 4. Like I just feel it's very
it's bright. It feels like it's spring the whole time or
previous.
something. Yeah. I will say the same thing. Like a lot of people don't like season 4, or like they put it lower on their list if they had to like line all the seasons up to say like by number which one comes in what order. 4 is always up higher on my list, and I always enjoy this rewatch amongst like most of them because it's a really good season and it's a fun dynamic we get between everybody. I guess that's why I say spring, because it feels fresh and new. So maybe that's why the bright colors and all this other stuff, because we were more decrepit and eerie in the high school years because everything was monsters as metaphor, even though it kind of still is. We were just in a different headspace there. We were very controlled. We're released from that in this part of the series, so we're able to do new things. I have to figure out how to segue because my notes do not do this for me right here. Parker and Buffy come face to face with Spike.
And Harmony.
Some poor half drunk guy being carried in between them. I love the imagery right here because to other people at the party, it just looks like they're carrying around their drunk friend that's done too much, and he's on the verge of passing out because his head's like drooping and he's like looks disoriented. But like we can clearly see that they've been feeding off of him because of the bite marks and blood draining on his neck. Most people in Sunnydale aren't batting out of that. They're like, oh, we ain't talking to them vampires because we understand exactly what's going on over there. But also, for the most part, most people aren't paying any attention because they're just like assuming that they're like walking their friend out and helping carry him away because he did too much. And Parker doesn't even have a clue in this because he's like, looks like your friend got too invested in the party or whatever the fuck he says. It's like wild. I have to call out Fashion Watch right here for Harmony's outfit. This is probably my favorite outfit that she wears in the whole episode because of this hot pink skirt with the black top. It's like slit across her shoulder. I love her braids that are in her hair, but most of it's down still. Like the Harmony that we saw in season 3 or even season 2 of Buffy was dolled up differently. Her fashion is just like increased. We know why she wants to go to France so damn bad, because she wants to go get more clothes, like she said, for shopping. But they're like straightening her hair. They're doing more with it because she's more like a character on the show now versus we've seen her as the like sidelines up to Cordelia high school student that we met previously. So they've really kicked her up a notch. But this outfit specifically is just so cute. The pink leather skirt reminds me of some like very nice pink leather pants, which we also kind of have called to twice now this episode. Breadcrumbs. It's cute.
I'm glad you said that, because like I was thinking, oh, I don't know if you're going to both. I love this outfit. It's not practical for her running in, but
she ain't running nowhere.
But actually, she didn't plan to, and it's cute thinking that Spike was like, oh, I'm going to take you to like she is annoying him as much as she's annoying him. the plan wasn't. I don't think the plan was to run into Buffy or anything.
No,
was it?
at all.
Like, he is just going into a party and taking her to a party, which actually
So they could
would
get
not have
somebody
been what
fresh.
Spike would have wanted to
Yeah.
have done.
No, exactly. Which is funny because they happen to be there. Also, like in the dialogue, how Buffy kind of like laughs at the fact that she's with Harmony. She's like, "What'd you lose a bet?" And she's like, "Hey!" And then like they like kind of half-ass compliment in a certain way, but then she looks at Buffy and she's like, "I like your outfit last year," like saying it's a recycled outfit or some shit, or like the outfit in general is like not of today's times. But the way I always saw it is she's like, "I saw you wear that outfit at school when we were in high school, so clearly you need to go get some money from your mom and go buy some more clothes because it's not cute." Spike comments on Buffy's new arm candy, Parker, and Buffy claps back wondering, oh, this is where actually she says, "What'd you do, lose a bet with to be dating Harmony?" He doesn't have time to tell the story of how they came to be because he drops the dude and runs out, Buffy chasing off after him. Parker's probably got to be like, what exactly is going on right now? What am I witnessing? She just leaves his ass standing there. Outside, retrieving a steak as she walks the side alley he must have run into. She's correct because he pops out from the bushes attacking her as she taunts him. I love it. She's like,
What's the matter, Spike? Drew dump you again?
Maybe I dumped her.
that's the reason he's back in town, because that's exactly what happened last time. Harmony appearing behind him, confirming the fact.
She left him for a fungus demon. That's all he talks about most days.
And he like looks around and he's like, Harmony, like yelling at her. And she's like, what? Like, she asked.
Harmony says a lot of stuff this episode that she absolutely should not say.
Harmony for Spike trying to back him up and taunting Buffy. As soon as we get the gem of Amara, you're going to be sorry. And he's like, like so fucking pissed and rips her away. And you can tell he's dragging her. Like, she's like, like very loose. That shit is so funny. I love his audible frustration at her and when he drags her off. Like, and I like the stance of Buffy just standing there kind of guarded with her stake. I told Courtney that other than the original stake we saw in season 1, and that's like on the cover of the media for the box set and stuff, or like any whatever, the promotional photo with the blue and her holding the stake, we all know it. I really like these stakes from the show because we haven't seen these before. This is when they first start to pop up. They're like really, I don't know, almost like Buffy varnishes her stakes now. They've got like that nice little like rounded bit at the top, and then like that really beautiful like pale wooden color that where the point is. I don't know, aesthetically it's so pleasing. I know I'm getting off on a stake right now, but I really like these stakes. They like fit in Buffy's hands so well. There's just enough point to get to the heart. It's not like dramatic, you know what I mean? I had to say it. Over at Xander's basement, we're catching glimpses for the first time, because I said that to Courtney too. I was like, I actually believe this is the first time we're seeing Xander's basement. We've heard about him residing here now, but now we're getting actually visuals of it. Anya comes in having been sent by his mom to the back entrance, wondering if they could talk some more. And this is the moment too where I knew, like, because I was questioning how she figured out where Giles lived, but she must have went to Xander's house first, and his mom said, oh, he's at this guy named Giles's house. He's like working for him a little bit or helping him organize stuff. You can find him there. So this is the second time she's talked to his mother at this house. So she's also like, I wonder how his mother is taking Anya, feeling like she's probably not on the door, like, or maybe not even knocking on the door. She's probably just walking in. She's like, where's Xander? Is he here? And they're like, who are you? And she's like, doesn't matter. Where is he? Like, I don't know. He offers Anya some juice and turns to grab it, noting it's custom to call before showing up. Also, again, letting her know what the normal rate of doing things is, how to operate as a regular human. But when he turns back, we see that Anya has dropped her dress to the ground, and Xander's juice emulates the effect his hard peenar will be doing soon enough. AKA it squirts everywhere. Okay, y'all, Anya just did the most. Like, I know we've been talking about her social understanding, but like, he turns his back and she says, I'm gonna drop my dress right now and leave my shoes on.
I mean, she gets what she wants.
She's sure.
No,
she gets sort of what she wants. She doesn't get the outcome.
Oh yeah,
it,
she gets
this part of what she wants.
True. It is consequential. However, I will say, for as much as she lacks social understanding, she understood the assignment. Because I'm like, how'd you know to do that? You know, like, how'd you know just to walk in and drop your clothes and that, and then all bets are off? And then you get like a fraction of what you want, which, as we just said, like later it ends up being a problem for her. But Yeah, I mean, I'm like, for someone who didn't even know that you should ring a doorbell before you enter
Or call.
someone's home. Or call. Or you just assume you've been in a relationship with his homie that you took to prom like 18 years ago. I don't know. How'd you know to do that?
Oh, I guess it's a book, like when they're talking about their bodies interlocking, and she being like, I guess there's no kind of
her dialogue
personality
about
or kind of like,
Yeah, so I forgot about that. Yeah.
she was like, the bodies are interlocking. She's like, this is just a step-by-step process I need to do.
She's like, step 2.
exactly, like the next part of her plan.
Check.
Yeah. And then I think because brains don't quite work like that, and then it's not like we've completed the level, we can move on. I think
it
that's
has
what
to
she
be a
thinks.
mutual understanding of where these steps are leading is the thing that she's missing completely. I'm like, no, you need to tell Xander, like, this is your idea of what's going to happen, so he can in advance tell you, oh, no. This is not how,
literally
this is not what it is.
It's just funny as fuck. I love the juice box squirt. It's like the best because I love when anybody does something to not use words in the moment to express something, and it's the best. We clip back over to Buffy, who's using a payphone to call and update Giles on the sitch in the gym. Kudos to her for getting the name right the first time, by the way, because she goes the gym of Amara or something, and that's the first time because usually she's like kissing toast for Kakistos, like she's calling oh my god, I can't even remember his name right now. A Cathla, she's calling him like Al Franken or whatever his name is, or Alfalfa. Yeah, exactly. So she's just always fucking up names, and I was like, okay, Buffy, it's because she's fresh off of like hearing it. Giles has apparently inconveniently heard of it, but claims it's not real and looks up a passage in a book. He just like goes and grabs a book while he's organizing and just like turns. He's like, aha, here it is right here. And I'm like, oh my god, this.
He was also kicking his leg up to show us he's wearing trainers. He's like, look at me wearing casual wear today.
And he backs up his claims, telling Buffy that he will research it more since Spike seems to believe it's opposite day. In Spike and Harmony's lair, we find her laying in bed in lingerie, tripping out about how her heart doesn't beat, and is apparently just now, after all summer, noticing all the things about her being a vampire. Spike doesn't seem to like her being a yapper and asks her, not so kindly with yells, to shut the hell up, which just entices her to seduce him over to the bed so the two can get freaky with one another. This scene is pretty hot, like just coming off of that part. Like Spike looks hot crawling into the bed with his muscles and he's using his fist to get over top of her. And I'm just like, I kind of wish I was Harmony right here. But I do have to say the dialogue where he suggests chain play and Harmony's like, ew, no, Dorcas might have been into that kind of shit. And he rips her hair and he's like, her name is Drusilla. And he's like, say it correctly. And she goes, Dorcas, and he's like, bite your tongue, and she's like, do it for me. So this is the stuff that like he gets as vampire interaction that he would have gotten kind of from Drusilla. But I also like how she completely stands her autonomy and her way of speaking to say like, I'm still gonna call this bitch Dorcas in a podcast, still a name bitch, like because we still got a flashback to that because I'm still not over that in certain ways. But I like that dialogue, but I also do have to complain though, because Harmony has been a vampire for the whole ass summer, and she's just now paying attention to the fact that she's dead. Talking about like, why do I have all these blue veins emerging from my skin? Like, can I take out and sire like Antonio Banderas and his whole family? Like, what can I do type thing? And I was like, what is happening right here? But also for our perspective on the show, it's just a fun way to fill space, I guess, and have her interacting this way about the fact that she's a vampire, because clearly she would have came to this 3 months ago. You know what I mean? Like she would have lived in this space, probably would have asked all these questions whenever she like reemerged as a vampire. I don't really know, but I was like, obviously it's context for us.
And I swear, I think she's like looks 10 years younger than when she was the high school years. She looked like she was a middle-aged woman in those business suits with the shoulder pads and stuff, and like she had like mum hair and stuff. Like now she looks really, really hot, and she's like
she looks her age. Yeah, that's what I was saying a minute ago about like her having a fashion upgrade in general, and like them doing more with her on the show, just as a person. But like the way she's personified now is so much different. When do y'all think her and Spike met, and how?
I was wondering that, honestly. Like, I wish that we could have been a fly on the wall just to see, like, when did they cross paths? When did their first conversation happen? How did that happen? Did Spike just forcefully take her? Did she forcefully take him? Because at this point, we don't know. I mean, like, and why does she like abuse?
Apparently, anybody who dates Spike is a fan of Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, she definitely sees the abuse as a way to get like intimacy, and because he seems to get turned on by it as well. And she's like, oh, if he's
They're
gives
definitely they're in
It's
a
the
trauma
vampire
bond,
thing too, though.
basically.
Vampires
yeah,
are sadistic creatures. Like they pair up together. They're probably gonna
Totally.
like forceful acts because they're not easily injured. They don't have the same problems that we have about being too forceful or hurting yourself or tying the wristbands too tight and like cutting off circulation or whatever the case they do if they're into BDSM or like pulling hair doesn't hurt the same way, but it's an aggressive act.
But I just because like so much of her personality is still intact, so it makes me think like she would be kind of like this anyway. I don't know if that's wrong to assume. We don't know Spike any differently than other than being a vampire, so obviously we know he's crazy or like really complex, and you just don't ever know what you're gonna get out of him. Like one day he's me crying over Drusilla in the middle of the night into his pillow, and then the next day he's me choking out Harmony while they're having sex or something. So it's like you just never know. He's on one extreme or the other. But with her, she's so consistently kind of a bitch that it makes her seem like she just could be this way regardless, like whether she's a vampire or not, you know? So I'm just like, what's your trauma?
What is your childhood trauma?
Like, I want to therapize her. I'm like, what? How do you feel about that?
It is her relationship with the Cordettes and like being a mean girl, because she obviously is, I think she's just attacking before. I think she would probably like Spike to want to be with her and want Spike to like want her, like that. She mentions it so many times in the episode. She's like, I'm gonna go tell my boyfriend. She's like, I want you to do this for me, and she's like desperate for him to do something for her or like take me to France and blah blah blah. But I feel she doesn't know anything else, and she's drawn to those toxic relationships like the Cordettes, and
especially in this state,
that's just what she's used to.
I guess that's true. Like I know we'll never see it. I didn't really come up with a mindset around about exactly how they met. Obviously it had to have been recently because Spike wasn't in town until most recently, coming back looking for the gem. So I don't know how he met her, like just in passing or whatever, but I really want the scene of how they hit it off, like, or just like a spoken thing, because we never really find out. But it's interesting to think about what happened to get these two paired up, but I'm glad it did.
There would be an app now. It would be on an app. They'd be looking to like
we met on Hinge.
No, they met on Unhinged.
Yeah.
We need to pitch that to the founders of Hinge and be like, this is the app for crazy people that want to do crazy shit to each other.
Vampires. It's probably out there nowadays. Still standing in... Wait, is that where I'm at? Oh, yeah. We find Xander still standing in shock and fear before Anya's nudity. We see that she's explaining the acts of sex to him and how this will help her get over him and move on with her life. Put him behind her. Figuratively, of course, because she thinks she's like, what did she say? I'm thinking face to face for the act itself. She's like, I'm a missionary girly. She's like, I need to like be able to look in your eyes, which goes to show that in herself as well. She's kind of seeing intimacy with being with Xander. We're not just fucking. She sees this as like an interlocking moment, like two bodies coming together, two people coming together, because of course she's trying to like woo Xander in the wrong ways. Xander is still hesitant, even if she has colorful condoms, but she is gung-ho on interlocking the bodies, and he finally succumbs, kissing her due to her clearly being more romantic than Faith. I like this because we remember Xander has had sex before, and we get a mention of Faith because, you know, Faith's in a coma right now, so we have no way to like have her on the show or anything like that. Anya fucking trips me out talking about, I have condoms, some are black. What?
It's like, well, that's very considerate. Like, why? Did I miss something? I'm like, why are colored condoms like so?
Because men be getting turned on by stuff like that. They'd be like, "Oh, I got a red condom today." Like that's, I don't know. I don't really know.
It was a weird one. I was like, am I missing something?
Maybe she want that BBC. I don't fucking know. She's like, I can pretend it's black. I don't fucking know.
So weird.
I do like the comedic timing at the end of the scene whenever the washing machine ding goes off, and we remember that her mom said like when the machine goes off to flip the whites or add fabric softener or whatever I think it was. But it works as a comedic timing effect for that's clearly the moment that Xander gets erect and it's time to start what they're about to do. So I like that. And I was like, yeah, Xander about to add some fabric softener, all right. And then I looked at Courtney when we were watching this. I said, but I can assure you nothing ain't soft at this moment. Definitely not those fabrics. Them fabrics about to be stiff in the bed, if you know what I mean. Anyways, Oh my god, I'm not even gonna say what I was about to say because I have creepy uncle vibes. Back in the party, Buffy finds Parker. Buffy finds Parker and explains a lie about Spike being an old friend who isn't supposed to be drinking. Get it? And laughs tremendously at the thought of Parker thinking he and her used to date. I love that moment for Sarah specifically to get to like laugh at the fact like she's like, no, that'd be like us when somebody would be like, oh, did you date Xana? And you'd be like, you would laugh that way, or you know what I mean, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
The way she does it, though, the way she laughs. I mean, that's going to be my quote. Just that laugh is so good.
I wrote that down.
The
too.
laugh specifically. So I never thought I'd put a laugh in the quotes. All right, guys.
It just makes me laugh whenever because she laughs like that again at another point.
And ironically, around the same kind of energy. Yep. They get back into their night, which involves dancing, moving out on the dance floor to dance to Biff Naked's performing their song Lucky. I really like this song. We are the lucky ones, blah, blah, blah.
I went on a hunt for all of the Biff Naked back catalogue.
Oh, did you?
I remember like when this was released. And it was quite hard to do because it was back in the day where it was like Virgin Megastores and had to get all them imported because it wasn't released in the UK. Not very interesting story, but yeah, I became quite a bit of like a Biff Naked fan. I don't know, were they popular in the States?
No, but they were popular to me because like I did this. Well, they were featured on like I think the Buffy Sunnydale album or something like that. Whatever, like. I can't remember what the name of the album was. I mean, it was a handful of years later because it was like the mid 2000s whenever things like LimeWire and BearShare and you could download music through MP3 and stuff came out, and we were starting to get like MP3 players. I went straight to like going on the internet and looking up like what songs were on Buffy from certain episodes and stuff, so I could download those in my queue, even like down to the scores. Like I'd be walking down the street, like you know how like we have the whole thing nowadays where they're like, wait, what song are you listening to? Like we see it on memes and they take it out and it's like, oh, I'm listening to such and such and such and such. I'd be like, oh, I'm listening to Massacre from Becoming Part 1, like the fucking fight music, like the scores or something. Or oh, I'm listening to Close Your Eyes, Buffy and Angel's love theme. Such great music. This show does really have good music, and it reminds you of some of the cool stuff that we had fucking back in the day. Some music today is shit, but yeah, it's different.
Such a reward when you actually could find it as well, and you got it onto your like downloads, and you're like so proud of yourself. Yeah.
Because nobody had recorded it on their stuff and put it on YouTube even to listen to, since it's not available on this. There's even some stuff you still can't get nowadays because you have like Apple Music and they're all about their licensed stuff, whereas you can get on Spotify and people are able to upload their own music to Spotify. So you can kind of almost find anything on Spotify most of the time. The song eventually fades into the two talking at the party about choices, eventually leading to their first kiss, before the scene concludes with their sex sequence in his dorm room, us getting an in-between of Giles trying to call Buffy to tell her about info on his findings. Parker's whole spew, I feel like is nice in theory that he's talking about what we talked about earlier, living in the moment. And I feel like just want to make a choice to do certain things, blah, blah. And then obviously Buffy comes back with like making a choice after he's like, what are you doing? She's like, making a choice, a stupid one, but whatever. A good choice at this moment. She doesn't know it's going to backfire on her, unfortunately. It just sucks to like viewpoint wise see it as he tells every fucking girl this same stuff to use as his advantage again. Like I feel like I say this in every time we break to talk about fucking Parker, because it just keeps growing and it just ultimately makes the whole thing gross. I don't take the conversation that they're having here, even like I'm saying first time watch, like what we saw earlier, what they were talking about, what they're talking about here, you're like, oh my god, this guy's giving some for sure good vibes. He's talking about, you know, surrender to the universe, trust your inner slayer, manifest a magical as fuck hellmouth. Like I knew you'd like that one specifically, mate, but I don't know, he's trying to like say and do good things, but like we know how the outcome's gonna be. I'm just like, Buffy, don't kiss him, don't go home with him. And then she does, and then they have sex, and we're wooting and hurrahing at this moment too, because we're like, oh, Buffy's fucking somebody that's not Angel. He's definitely not gonna turn evil. He's not gonna treat her miserably like the last time. Until you've seen it the second time. Oh. And you can't say that anymore. Point made.
Yeah, I hate that she's like at the line and when she's like, I'm making a choice, and you're like, oh, you're not. And like the way she's sat and positioned as well looks like she's higher than him, and she's like, our hero's taking control of this situation, and she's like stepping into this and doing it herself, and she's like, no, she's not.
She needed to go back and revisit.
I hate that.
She needs to go back and revisit last season's themes about choice that we talked about all throughout, because clearly she needs a refresher course. The next morning, Buffy awakens alone in the dorm, semi-freaking out because this is giving her first time all over again. But she can relax when he arrives bringing her coffee that he ran out to get, something that I feel like I can appreciate, but it better have froth on it. She is curious about hanging with him today, but he cannot due to his mother coming to visit, which we're going to all assume is a cop-out, bold-faced, Parker is a bitch-ass fuckboy lie, except past fact fuckboy, whatever that next degree is that Chris has now provided to us. Have to change that for my notes. She clears out asking him to call her later, to which he agrees before they share a final kiss. We call that a final kiss because that's the last time we seen them bitches lock lips. Over at Xander's the next morning, he and Anya awkwardly get dressed as she voices that she's over him now. And like the whole, like the way that they're sitting on the bed, they're like turned away from each other, not acknowledging what has happened. We don't know what happened across them having sex either, whether they enjoyed it, whether it was like whatever. She clearly also spent the whole entire night with him. So they, I guess, went to bed, or maybe they had sex all night. Who knows? And he just says kind of okay. And she gets, I guess, upset because her plan clearly hasn't gone as she wanted to, and she just like leaves because she's like okay, and he's like yeah. Like Xander is just, I feel so bad because Xander is so confused, like he has no idea what's going on. He was just basically following orders that Anya gave him, and he had the chance to sleep with somebody. What guy isn't going to take that? Obviously, Parker Abrams. Anya over here telling him she's over him, and like here's where we pick up on the fact that she's trying to start those things up again, and this is her next act, because like based on what she said before this moment, we're thinking, I'm like, this is going to help me get over you. Okay, well, like you're doing the wrong thing. That's not actually, you know, if you're really conceiving it the right way, that's not how you should be doing it. But she doesn't get that. So we're like, well, maybe she will get this out of her system. She's using this as a way to define their relationship, air quotes, though. And we can also get why like Xander is hesitant, because we all remember like his experience with her at prom. Just between that instance of her first coming back and this instance, he had a shitty experience with her. So why would he want to date somebody like Anya? Plus that the whole background is being a demon. All he did was feel miserable on his date night for prom. He basically got asked by Anya to prom, and he had no other option, so he decided to go with her. So like he's in a really tricky situation right here, and he unfortunately just kind of made this interestingly worse for himself as far as like getting this backlash of okay. And he's like, what is happening to my life right now?
She's very bipolar.
This whole energy is all over the place.
I want to know how she did research. Like, did she watch chick flicks? Did she, like, what did she do? Like,
what is the book that she's reading?
How to
yeah, I'm really interested to know, because she would be like, if they have sex, is she watching like the 90s chick flicks and going, oh, they're gonna cuddle now, they're gonna have that?
She's
like,
also clearly watching
𝑒𝐿
Still everybody remembers that shit. Like, damn. I don't know. It's so confusing for this. Huh? What'd you say? You don't know what you don't know Sue Johansson? I don't remember where. Maybe she was airing somewhere in the States. She used to come on late night at like 11 or 12 o'clock at night, and she was a sex educator. She had been like, she was like psychologist and all this other stuff. I think she might have been a therapist or something like that. I might be giving her more credentials than she actually had. But regardless, she was like somebody that promoted sex therapy and talked about sex willy-nilly. So she would take phone calls, kind of like Miss Cleo, but for sex. People would call and talk about like, oh, my boyfriend's doing this, or almost like Reddit stories nowadays, how we hear like people call or reading out Reddit stories for people like posts and stuff. But people would call and like say that like what's going on with their boyfriend, or like, oh, my boyfriend wants to try anal sex, but I don't feel comfortable pegging him, or like whatever. Or like, I'm like, you know, just turned 18, 19 and I've never sucked a man's penis. Like, how do I do that? And she would all pull out a dildo on the screen, and like she had sex toys everywhere, and tell you like how to do it. Like she wouldn't visual. And this lady was like 80 years old doing this show. It wasn't like some 50 or 40-year-old woman or something like that, or a 20-something-year-old.
She sounds great. I'd have been interested.
You need to YouTube Sue Johansson. Please remind yourself to do this.
Sue Johansson, I will.
He's like, I'm doing it right now.
That's me done for this evening. Sue Johansson.
You and your man will have a fun time watching some random videos. You're all gonna be like, what the fuck? Because I promise YouTube probably has them, or at least some clips from random various ones. Coming right back into the actual script. Everybody got some last night, because Spike awakens to Harmony drawing on his back with lipstick a big heart that says Spike loves Harmony, getting up annoyed to head back to the tunnels because apparently he loves those tunnels more than her. She's like, you like those tunnels more than me? He's like, I like syphilis more than you. And I'm like, bro, you just fucked her all night. What is happening? But also I like this imagery right here, because Drusilla would never have been just cartoon drawing Spike. Like, this is very high school. This is letting you know that Harmony has not changed, because this is like Buffy writing Buffy an Angel and a heart on her notebook in high school and all that type of shit. Like, and it's with lipstick and stuff. Spike's asleep and he wakes up to this. He's like, God damn it. Like, why am I dealing with this?
I'd have preferred that than listening about Miss Edith.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you. Or yes. Okay, I'm not even going to make a joke here. I'm going to continue. Buffy arrives back at home, nearly undressing in front of Willow and Giles, who are already up and working on the issues. Willow hardcore channeling excitement towards her best friend getting fucked energy, because she clocks what's occurred because of the fact that Buffy has just arrived back to her dorm. I love, like, because Giles is obviously turned to Buffy and Willow's posed behind him, and she's like giving her up like the fucking, I don't know, like thumbs ups, and I can't remember, I don't know what this is called, but that's what she's doing. She's like, yeah, everything went okay, fucking exceptional for you. We're informed that the Gem of Amara may actually exist and had been recorded to reside in the Valley of the Sun, aka
Demon fancy talk for Sunnydale.
It seems that Spike may know what it's about, that the gem may exist, after all, in Sunnydale, in a sealed underground crypt.
Why don't you guys try and locate the crypt?
and she can focus on finding Spike. Once he's gone, Willow rushes in pursuit of finding out all the lusty wrong details that occurred the night before about Buffy and Parker. Well, a blurry watercolor. She's like, I don't need every detail. Like, I don't need all the points. Buffy calls it really nice and notes that he's going to call. Willow claiming that this stage is nice, full of excitement and discovery. Buffy. As we get a round of cutscene transition magic over to Spike raging in excitement about how they found the entrance to the crypt and can start to tunnel the drill up into it. Spike's excitement is cut short when Harmony begins to complain about his orders, how none of them are to leave the lair, so Buffy doesn't track them back down and follow them there to find them. And he has to stress to her rudely as per usual.
Listen to me, you stupid bint. This gem is everything. I came back to Sunnydale for it, a place which has witnessed some truly spectacular kickings of my ass. Now, when I have the gem, they all die, don't worry. But until then, stay inside. And by the way, I would be insanely happy if from this point on I heard bugger all about sodding France.
She starts bringing up France again. He jacks her up against the fucking wall. She starts crying, wondering why she lets him treat her this way. And he just claims snidely that love hurts before leaving her alone. So basically at this point, we've now seen, like, we haven't seen Buffy yet starting to get beat up in any way, shape, or form. But like Anya and Harmony are now kind of sitting in the same space. In this moment specifically, it always kind of enrages me how Spike is so mean to Harmony. We've seen him like say snide things to her and be treating her some type of way. But now we're like, I don't know. Harmony is such a innocent vampire. That's the portrayal in the play that we're already getting on her in this episode. And she's being treated like complete shit by the guy that she adores. Like you were just saying a little bit ago, Chris. Like she wants, like, my boyfriend's going to beat you up. He's going to do this for me. He trying to like conceptualize in her mind and almost convince herself that Spike likes her in those types of moments, when I think in reality she already knows that he doesn't fuck around with her like that, but he does sometimes.
Excusing an abusive relationship.
Exactly. She's like, oh, I'm gonna save that for later because I make this whole comment about something, but no, not that. No, you're good. I was about to start saying something I think is in my notes later. But like, she doesn't really know that the man that she's with, I think historically, him coming off the fact of probably having told her about killing 2 Slayers and all of that other stuff, she probably had to be like, what's a Slayer, and be informed in certain stuff. So she learned about obviously Buffy, and then that connects to high school and all this other stuff. But she doesn't know how historically Spike is as a bad person and the way that he is and stuff. So I think she just got, unfortunately, like she jumped into something too fast and then just kind of got stuck. You know what I mean? I feel like that's all I really need to say about that. But I also want to again point out for Fashion Watch, like I like Harmony's lavender strapless crop toppy thing that she's wearing right here. Again, Harmony has got some good wardrobe. I say that because I like lavender a whole lot. Purple's my favorite color, so I had to bring it up. Okay, so now we can move into the montage because Buffy is next seen in a montage of her patrolling the campus with a yearbook, pointing out a photo of Harmony to people, asking if they've seen her. While it's over, it's underplays by Doll's Head. Really like that song. I still listen to it. I told Courtney, I was like, the song is such a vibe if you roll down all your windows and just drive. That's a good song to listen to. We see her checking variously throughout the day at her dorm and calling on payphones to see if she's received a phone call from Parker, and guess what? She has not. Spike finally making it into the tunnel with the drill, more non-messages, and bum-ass Buffy because she just lays on her bed collapsing, upset with herself. Spike finally crawls up into the tunnel looking around, finding a gem on a necklace before being interrupted by Harmony, who has followed him up inside, wondering if she can take some of these pretty things. Through rolled eyes, he obliges and turns back to the necklace, putting it on and trying to feel a change in power of perception in his body. Harmony's begun to place a tiara on her head and, various jewels and decor because, she's like gassing up right now. She's like, ooh, pretty.
Of course she went for the tiara.
For real.
Yeah.
She looks over to Spike and asks if he feels it, if it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, but all he can feel is her getting on his nerves when she brings up them going to France again. Enraged and irritated, breaking off a post, fashioning a stake, he attempts to give us the quick 2-caper slay of Harmony, and when he stakes her, retrieves it, and we watch the wound that has been made do some X-Men Wolverine shit and heal itself. Both are stunned. Harmony over the fact that he tried to kill her, beating at his chest, him noticing that the ring that she has on matches his necklace and how that's his gem. She tosses it at him and he finally, in a decent mood again, now runs to go play outside. I do like whenever he drops into that like little tunnel hole, it reminds me of the shoop, like of Buffy and Faith jumping. She's like, if I go down here, I might die. And then she hops in that tunnel hole, not knowing where she's going to land. To have strength and to be able to just like hop down from heights and stuff and not give a fuck, it seems like a vibe.
Yeah, my legs would bend backwards if that happened.
I don't think I put anything in here to really talk about it and stuff like that, but this is kind of fucked up that he is so irritated with her that he decides to stake her. Like, it's cool. It's a lovely reveal on the fact that she's wearing the fucking gem and she's protected by it. We get to see the first instance of what exactly the gem does to a vampire when they're staked and they're wearing it. And through a cool way, because it's fucked up, he's staking his girlfriend. If she had not been wearing that ring, she would have been dead right there. And he would have just been like, whatever about it. That says enough in itself. And it's kind of gross. You know what I mean? Like the way he's been treating her all this episode, for her to like have everything she's going through and just really upset coming off the last scene. And now he's killing her. Like it's giving Debbie and Pete all over again. It's just awful. The gang sit at Giles trying to research more. Oz being more impressed with Giles' record collection. Xander more impressed at the fact that Giles has a TV hidden behind boxes. Because look, he's a person. He's like Oz. He's shallow like us, I think he says. Thankfully turning it on right as we catch a news report of the road collapsing, leading them to understand that's exactly where Spike has been operating underground. I love how they all try to come down on Giles for being shallow like them too. Like he's like, I can have a TV, but I've got it behind boxes. I haven't watched it in forever. But also Giles, don't be ashamed of watching TV. Like someone like Giles, I would expect that's how he keeps up with some of the news besides reading the paper and shit. No, he's not sitting there watching The Real World or fucking whatever else is on TV all the time. Like, I don't know. He's not watching.
He's on.
I don't know.
Watching Sue Johansson
It
because
also,
remember he's like getting some this season, so he's up late at night watching Sue.
He's stupid as hell. I all thought he like intentionally moved the boxes there so they wouldn't see that he had a TV.
I don't know. It's kind of interesting too where we find Giles, because I didn't know anything really about Giles this episode, but we know that he brought all his books home from high school, so he's been slowly trying to figure out how to organize them in his home, and that's what all these boxes have, either records and stuff like that he had or he's getting rid of or whatever, and all the boxes amongst them all have books and stuff in it, so it makes sense. But like he's been apparently living here all summer with just like boxes of books, or maybe he put them in storage and he just now brought them home because he bought some shelves to like put his books on to create the library again, but at his home, since we know this is going to be the new like setting kind of for like Giles doing research more than anything. I thought it was all interesting point, I guess, about Giles, because we don't really see much of him this episode. He's across it, but like he's not a main center focus at all in any way, shape, or form. On campus, Buffy in her lovely shade of blue top that fits her so well, fashion yes for me, stumbles upon Parker chatting up some girl, giving that pathetic wah wah my dad's dead bit, and Buffy asks what the fuck is up because she's not dumb but is going to play dumb. He sends matey Katie off to class because the girl's name was Katie, and explains to Buffy she's a friend of his. He's like, yeah, you'd like her. I should introduce you at some point. I'm just like, ooh, I see what you're doing here, you fucker. Trying to, it's gross. You could actually be like, no, I'm actually.
You girls can compare notes afterwards.
Literally, because like... poor Katie ain't going to be on his registry either. But who knows if Miss Katie is under the pretense of like, even though he's giving her this bit, maybe she also just wants to fuck, not get in a full-on relationship. I don't know. She voices him not calling and plays coy, excusing it's only been a couple of days. And Buffy, who has standards, just assumes maybe he would do what he said he would. He claims everything's good, and she just asks him to hang again, and he already has plans for forever because he's like, oh, I've got this thing going on tonight. If she was like, well, what about tomorrow? He'd be like, oh, I actually have too many classes and I got to study. And then she'd be like, okay, well, what about Friday? He's like, actually, I'm going to be dead that day. He's just going to have an excuse for every option of time, which is sucky because he could actually just look at her right fucking here and spare everything that's about to come in this next moment and say that. So I thought we were on the same page and we were just hooking up. I kind of want to explore other options and stuff. Maybe if we circle back at some point, that would be a thing. But can I let you know right now, like, I actually have no pursuit. I don't have to make up excuses. I can just be authentic and say right now, I don't want to see you again. Or let's be friends, or whatever the case. I don't know. There's some stuff to come that I feel like we're just going to talk to when it comes to that. Either way.
Yeah.
He calls the time that they had fun, wondering why it needs to be more than that, wondering if she expected some sort of commitment. She gets upset realizing things weren't as clear as he thought, or as she thought, as any of them fucking thought. And even though this fucker totally played her to get in her pants, trying to leave, she chases after him to apologize how she brought up all of this again. And he clarifies it's okay, they'll just talk later. Now that she feels like she's taken a fist to the face, she hears Spike calling her pathetic from behind as she turns to meet his actual fist to her face. Whenever Buffy ran after Parker, like, she just kept going. Like, she could have just walked off after this moment. She kept chasing. That's the part that bothers me about Buffy in this episode, and I'm a little annoyed with her. Courtney's girlfriend Meredith actually looked over this. She goes, no, come on, girl, stop. Like, I was like, oh, shit. I didn't expect Meredith to say that at all, or, like, any of us to really speak up. But, like, I wrote in parentheses in my notes originally, I was like, I agree. Like, we do not chase men. Like, if he says he doesn't want you, drop his fucking ass. Don't go after him, especially like in this pretense. It's not like Harmony chasing after Spike. It's completely different, but it's the same situation being presented to us. I don't know. Like, this is the part I feel like I kind of want to talk about Buffy and like what's exactly happening here. Because like you and I, Courtney, we talked about everything with this situation about like her losing her V card, because like there's ways to back it up the way that Buffy feels, because the last time she lost her virginity and had sex and got intimate with somebody, Angel turned into Angelus. So I'm sure some of this is getting triggered. We also have the theme of the fact that they chose specifically to give Parker red bed sheets, and the last time she had sex was in red bed sheets. I'm sure she's not thinking about it, but it's a visual comparison for us to say this is very similar to last time Buffy and Angel had sex. You wake up the next morning, the man's not there, even though he comes in 2 seconds later. She's waking up to being alone. Like, she's scared. She's also like not having the most fun time at college so far. She's had struggle after struggle, and now she's getting re-traumatized with some of this energy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, someone like Buffy, like I said earlier, you think that someone like her would recognize the energy and just deal with it, especially since Parker isn't a human and not about to go on a whole killing spree on the town. I also came in talking to Courtney before Chris got here about, like, a lot of people say that Parker did nothing wrong, like in this instance, like in this episode, but like, right? I got your face in general.
Who?
Like
Who are these
reviews,
people?
like, I mean, I've heard people say it on other podcasts too, but like, I mean, not like to be a full stance and stuff like that, but they conceptualize what he did right in these situations. And I was like, where are those right moments? But I read a couple of reviews. I didn't write anything down from them, and I don't have ADD, so I cannot remember anything people said, but they were like, I physically saw Parker did nothing wrong. I was like, do you not remember like episode 5? Do you not remember like episode 7? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I know that will make sense to you later on, but specifically, like, there are 2 things that happen across where we see a little glimpse of Parker again, and you're just like, he does everything wrong. This guy has awful mentality around what he's doing. Like I said, emotionally manipulating women is what it comes down to. And unfortunately, Buffy got emotionally manipulated. But this is where I say, like, it sucks for Buffy because you get frustrated and annoyed with her. You don't want her chasing after men, but you understand why she's doing it, because she's been emotionally manipulated before by her ultimate love of her fucking life. So now that she's got this guy that she thought she was going to be more invested in, and because he led her on, she's feeling the way she does and acting the way that she is right now in these moments, chasing after him, like basically begging, you know what I mean? Like, without putting her hands together and getting on her knees, please be with me. Like, that's what I say. I don't know. What are you guys' take on it?
I don't know. I feel like I don't know how I would feel if I was Buffy, because you just made me think of like what happened with Angel turning into Angelus was a consequence of something that happened to Angel in the past before Buffy was even in his life. So no one saw that coming. So I don't think like it was the same.
She
type
didn't make
of
a choice
manipulation,
there, like the
basically,
same
is what
way.
I'm saying. Well, Angel didn't manipulate her. They fell in love, and based on falling in love, they became intimate, and there was a great consequence there that later, if you don't understand what's going on, then yeah, initially the backlash of that probably had her feeling like, oh, this is a douchebag. She knows, though, that Angel was cursed, and therefore, as an end result of them having sex and him experiencing that, he turned into Angela's. With Parker, it's so different because he's not cursed. He's a human being. She's a human being. And he has the ability, and maybe not the maturity, because they're both, like we said earlier, like 18 or 19 years old, but he does have the ability to just be forthright, which would be the stand-up thing to do when clearly he knows his intentions. And that's why it doesn't surprise me in a way that there are people who say, well, Parker did nothing wrong, because it's so normalized that guys do this. You know, so it's like, so what if he acted like a dude? And I'm like, so what? This is the issue. This is the issue.
I think to bring it up
large.
too for part of the conversation as well, just because I don't have a lot of dialogue in here around this, but Buffy herself at the very end of the episode is still like, why doesn't he want me? Type of mentality. And right here in this moment, she starts to catch on when Parker's like, oh, I've actually got this thing tonight. Like, he doesn't clarify like what I've got going on, but he's giving her an excuse. And she looks at him, the way that she reads in her eyes, like, say, she knows what's going on, and then she still continues to chase after him. And then adding that with later on, this is like the frustrated part about Buffy. But like,
totally,
I don't know.
But you did say, she also said just before that, she said, didn't Willow say something? And she went, oh, he said that and it was really sweet. So you do replay different bits, don't you? And then you start like having that internal conversation and going, oh, maybe there's this. And I hate that. Like, my younger self definitely did that so many times. And I almost feel like, you know, when she ran over to apologize, it's almost like, oh God, I'm looking crazy. I need to now do something else, trying to rectify and make me look not look crazy. And then you're like, she looks more crazy. But yeah, like, I definitely can understand why she did it. Like, I personally think it's another reason why I like Buffy so much as well, because she isn't perfect. There's so many different elements to her. Like, I don't think that was a good move. And like, we don't really see again, no spoilers, but like, this sort of relationship happen again, but I think it's a good thing to happen because it's the first kind of sexual experience she's had post Angel. And the way she looks at, I guess the way that she looks at relationships and sex, looking at her friendship group and everyone else, is very much like you fall in love, and it's a very loving, like, these one night stands don't really happen. So she's not really familiar with that. I think, and I would suppose in this world, the only one who had sex like this was Faith, who was evil. So having casual sex is evil, or
part of the
supposedly in this world, and
like subtext.
So I think she probably just was like, it just means something completely different to her.
I think she gets wrapped up in people too fast because of like the way she got wrapped up in Angel. So she's trying to create her next Angel in her eyes in a way as well. But also, like you just brought up a good point, and this is the last little thing I had in my notes, like on Buffy for right here specifically, or just like but where Buffy's arriving at in life, she has an experience now, and she's able to learn from it, even if it takes her a little bit to get over this hump. She is inevitably going to learn from it, and like it is one of those instances in life that we can relate to as people and resonate with on how this probably has happened to us all. Not necessarily that we just got more invested in somebody than like they ended up getting invested in us, and maybe they dated us for a couple weeks and then they just either ghosted us or told us like, hey, actually I don't want to be with you, or they met somebody else. Like, whatever the instance is, you kind of wind up hurt in the situation, but you learn from it. And you also be like, this is a chance for Buffy as a person, or just like people going through this situation, to be like, oh, I can take this differently the next time. Maybe I won't rush into things, and I'll actually read situations differently. You just have learning lessons through this curve. You know what I mean? So I'm glad Buffy has the experience.
Or you take your time to make sure that some guy who's spewing a whole conversation and a sympathy story to you isn't then turning around 3 days later and having the identical conversation with someone
Or next
else.
time that somebody brings that up, you just can read the room, maybe, or call them out and be like, so by the way, is this just like a tactic to get my pants? And then they're like kind of caught off guard. They'll have to like admit something then, or have to figure out their next lie. And if you become a person that can read really good, people, body language, instance is really good, then you just clock them intuitively anyways, and you can just make an informed decision at that point. All right, let's get to the fight. On the ground, looking back up to Spike, he glorifies this brilliant sunny day that he's taking in, in a nice non-fatal sort of way. Buffy, I should have made you say that, because you're probably like, what are you trying to English right now, Brandon?
No, I think it's better as an American doing it in English.
But you would just say
Absolutely.
it. Can you actually, for me, just say it a nice, non-fatal sort of way?
A nice non. I don't have a Cockney accent, so I can't do
Oh,
it.
true.
Like a nice non-what?
Okay, there you go. All right, sorry. It was like me trying to make Robbie when we first came in to record with him saying, "Oh, nar."
Oh no! Yeah.
All right. Buffy quick to grab a wooden picket sign nearby. Like this concept because I'm going to say this phrase right here. A Slayer must always reach for her weapon. She does. And hops to her feet fast to fight. She stakes Spike pretty quickly and he smirks pulling it out and she realizes that he's got the gem. Him showing it to her like a dumbass on his hand where it's located. She has no clue what the gem looks like either. She doesn't know it's not in his rectum, that it's not in his pocket. Like, he shows her because he's dumb that he has it. He knocks her back, expressing how the Gem of Amara is the official sponsor of him killing the Slayer, vamping out to attack more. Over in the crypt, Willow, Oz, and Giles find Harmony inside, crying now to them about how being a vampire sucks and attacking them. Obviously, over this, they also get told, like, you know, Spike definitely has the gem. He's on the way to Buffy. We got to figure stuff out. And then Harmony decides to shoot down that fucking hole, too, because once again, she can just hop down there quicker than Willow was struggling to get up by two people. This part emotionally always makes me feel a little bit sad. I just wrote my notes. I was like, a vampire just sitting here crying in this crypt after Spike left. Like, Willow and them all had like time to go to the crypt after they saw the news on the TV, get their ass there, and what do? They find a fucking vampire. We've seen a vampire cry on this show before? No. Angel, but with a soul. Like, she's hurt by him. Like, she's a different type. And it sucks because you don't expect to see that. I was like, we didn't even see Harmony cry in high school. And we see her crying right here as a vampire, a evil, soulless creature is sitting here crying. Spike is mean.
Poor Harmony.
Poor Harmony. We're going to leave that with that because that is just upsetting. Over at Buffy's dorm, Xander's looking for her, banging on her door, running into Anya, who's there trying to talk to him some more about her feelings. This kind of sucks right here, but she's probably going to actually come with some... I got the sense she was coming a little more correct in this moment. Like, she was going to, or just trying again, but unfortunately he has to brush her off, and, you know, because he has no time to talk because of everything going on right now. Spike's on the fucking loose. I did point out to Courtney, too, we've been seeing it across since college year started, but Buffy's dorm number is 214, which is also Valentine's Day, just to throw that out there for date-wise. I always be looking at numbers. So I was like, her room is where the love happens, but not. I don't know. 214 is interesting, but I'm also going to make a point later about 214 because it's very similar to another number. Courtney, just take it in. It'll resonate later. If you know, you know. Buffy continues an awesomely choreographed fight sequence with Spike out in the open on campus. I think it's funny what Meredith said, where are all the students? And I was like, oh, they cleared out, because you could see them moving like they were going off to class and stuff. It slowly was dissipating as even Parker and Buffy were talking. People were moving off the set. Mostly so a big fight sequence could take place, but also just because they had to get to class in theory. But then also, like, while they're fighting out in the middle of this courtyard, there's like all these windows lined in the, like, I don't know if there's classrooms behind that, but there's got to be offices or something. No one's being able to look out the window and be like, what the fuck's going on out there? what
I know. No one's paying attention.
Like, Spike picks up Buffy at one point and smashes her into the table's glass and it shatters everywhere. No one's hearing that. No one's hearing Buffy and Xander getting thrown up against the fucking street pole or light poles that are out there. Like, you hear a big bong after they hit the damn thing. I'm like, no one's hearing this. No punch sounds. You know, Vampire and Slayer punching each other doesn't sound like a fist fight going on between two homies.
I mean, even so, I feel like you'd hear a normal fight.
It's loud, it's obnoxious, it's creative, it's chaotic energies. You would feel it.
Also, you're going to tell me no students were late to class that day walking outside still?
Apparently not, because it's 1999. If this was today, you know, everybody be sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah. I know.
I don't know if I'd get involved in that fight. I'm not sure if I would get involved in that.
Well, I mean, standing off on the sidelines behind a tree or something, watching it, being nosy is one thing, but like actually getting up and involved in it is a whole other. But that's what people would be doing nowadays. Just to point out, I held my phone up to the screen as if I was like shocked face and recording the instance of what's occurring, so I can post it to TikTok or whatever and it be viral in 2 seconds. But Buffy in this day and time, everybody would have known that she was a fucking Slayer. Buffy and him fighting still, and they're like equally matched because they're both kind of serving up some stuff. Spike eventually does get a bit more of the upper hand. Xander comes in attempting to help, but gets laid out by Spike, aka Lightpole. Spike begins to poke fun at Buffy while she's down over literally letting Parker take a poke at her. And this kind of reminds you of the energy of Spike, like saying what he did to Buffy in School Hard when they first met. I can't remember specifically what he says. Maybe I should have wrote down a little bit of notes, but like he's saying stuff almost very provocative to teenage Buffy when he meets her in the high school. And I talked about it in our episode back then. And he chooses that same moment to kind of poke that same kind of energy. Because like she calls him, she's like, "You're a pig, Spike." And he's like going back into the thing. And he's like, "What exactly did it take to pry apart the Slayer's dimple knees or weak knees," whatever the fuck he says, and continues to act like the pig we're talking about. And he knocks her back again and concludes,
What you did wrong? Too strong? Did you bruise the boy? Whatever. Guess you're not worth the second go. Come to think of it, seems like someone told me as much. Who was that? Oh, yeah. Angel.
Not worth a second go.
not worth a
Was that
second
it?
go.
It's like,
That could not have been what she needed to hear. Not worth a second go, because that's so relative to how she
Yeah.
feels literally right now, that she's not worth a second ago. And that makes everything we've been talking about, the whole Angel situation, or anybody would conceptualize, that she's so triggered by what happened with Angel. And with this instance, it's all connected in a way for her, because Spike knows, and he's the voice right now in that moment.
in the instance, did you say that's not what she wanted to hear? Because I was going to say that's definitely what she needed to hear
No,
at this
yes,
point.
100%,
Like,
because she's able to whip back into action and stuff.
yeah, I just wanted to clarify because she
No,
just
he did.
goes
He did.
absolutely crazy, doesn't she, at this part? And
Yes.
she's like, "Okay, we know she's winning."
Yes.
Oh yeah, she becomes like
That's what I'm saying.
activated over it. And she's like,
Exactly.
"I'm
It
gonna fuck you."
enrages Buffy enough to get
Yeah.
up and land a Spike's ass ruthlessly before eventually pinning
Yeah.
him down to snatch the ring off his finger, even though he fronts about it harming both of them. It's false because she removes it, and Spike leaps down into the tunnel that he came up from before soaking up any of the sun's rays. I almost started to say was like this fight sequence and the score alongside of it, like epic, like I talked about in the beginning. It's dope because where it's located as, like the last time we saw Buffy and Spike obviously fighting was in School Hard in the high school, so it's completely different. But we also know Spike to be a true foe to Buffy. Like the last time that they faced off this way, we saw a nice equal match. Basically, Joyce had to save Buffy from Spike because he probably was about to get her there. And something that I like, it kind of brings up the air of fear for Buffy because she's in this battle against a notorious vampire that is or has killed 2 Slayers in the past. So this could easily be number 3 for him. Whether Spike's cocky or been kicked in the ass by Buffy, like we find out later in a certain way that one of the other Slayers that he had a fight with actually kind of fumbled around with her for a little bit. He didn't just kill her on the first night. You know what I mean? Spoiler. But that's totally what's happened. So it doesn't matter which night that he gets the Slayer. This could have been Buffy's time because she was literally down when he started in on her. And when he had this, before he, as Spike always does, ran his mouth and pissed Buffy off, that could have been the moment that he took out the Slayer finally. Like he's been wanting, that was his whole purpose for being there and getting the gem. So he was finally invincible enough to be able to get Buffy dead.
I agree. Like if he
Yeah.
hadn't have just started going on about Angel, it would have gone the other way.
Yeah. Like he
Likely.
hit her right where it hurts. He caused his own downfall, as he always seems to do on the show. Just saying, other than Joyce hitting him in the head with a post, because that was like completely different energy. Buffy just happened to got saved. I was like, ugh, it just sucks. Coming off of what happened with Parker and stuff, and into this space, that was just not the setup of moment that Buffy needed to be fighting some vampire, and then for Spike to be able to be out there in the daylight. Because if anything, she would have been able to just go sit on a bench and just like collectively take this in of what just happened. But no, Sunnydale and Buffy's life would have it completely opposite. Later at Giles, the gang sits staring at the ring on the table before them, contemplating destroying it, but Buffy says that they're not going to do that. Giles is a bit confused because it's too dangerous. If a vampire gets his hands on it, then he'll be unkillable. Buffy looking at him pointedly as he begins to understand her thoughts, Oz noting he has that gig in LA and he can drop it off. Xander, to no surprise, isn't understanding, and Willow clarifies, because she does, that Buffy's giving the ring to Angel and for him not to make a fuss. Courtney goes, ooh, whenever she said that, because we know Xander's the first one going to start running that mouth. Giles asks if she's sure, and she agrees that Angel should have it. This right here gets you gassed up for the fact that, like, we know the next Angel episode is about to literally air upon original airing of this. We've already gotten promos for like double feature action going on. Both stories are going to connect, huge crossover vibes. Like, I can't wait. I'm kind of sad that you didn't watch it, but I'm also kind of like now that we've been like breadcrumbing you into it, to know that the next episode we still have the continuation of this story, but on Angel's show in whatever way. Courtney has no idea. So this is going to be fun.
So good.
That evening, heading back to the dorms, Buffy and Willow walk on campus as she questions her and wondering if this will always be what happens. You sleep with a guy and he turns on you. Willow doesn't think it's the case and calls Parker a poop head, and Buffy agrees he's manipulative and shallow, but still thinks that she's the problem. And I wrote my notes, ugh, Buffy, shut up. This is also where you and Mare were so annoyed with her at this point. Y'all were just like, I'm done with Buffy. Like, I had to pause the episode almost essentially because Courtney went on this whole tangent about like how she was never watching Buffy again. She could not stand her at this point. I know. I was just being dramatic. I was being theatrical.
That's not what I said.
It's just so sad. I'm like, no, like, I hate this mentality for people though. They like not thinking they're good enough, or like they really fawned over this person so much and they just want to be with them. I'm like, they don't want you. You need to let it go. But people have to learn the hard way sometimes, I guess, or just like suffer. Willow disagrees and thinks Buffy's missing the lesson here. Thank God she pointed that out. Also notes the fact that she shouldn't be involved with Parker. She asks Willow to go ahead of her so she can walk alone and think, closing on a shot of her, Anya, and Harmony all walking around various points of the campus nearby doing the same thing. We fade to black, and here endeth the episode. I don't remember what Meredith said. One of y'all said something, and I was like, oh, you're about to see it in our final sequence. Or we're talking about all three of the girls getting hurt and something like that. And I don't understand something. And I was like, well, it'll make sense when we see them in this flash. I like the shot because we get to see all three of them, like the three women's story that we've been following for the episode. And we see them all walking together. But the shot specifically bothers me because they're all right in eye view of each other. Anya probably doesn't care, but like Buffy technically should be looking for Harmony to harm her, no pun intended, but Harmony should also see that the Slayer is right over there and be like, oh shit, like we've been fucking with her a whole episode. I probably should not be nowhere in sight. Y'all are a small triangle about 8 feet away from each other. How did y'all but I don't know, maybe even like a fun moment to say that that's like a metaphor within itself, or like a subversion of their own minds, that they're all three so lost in their own world that they couldn't be paying attention to what's going on around them. You know what I mean? Because they're so lost in their own sauce. I don't know.
Yeah. They're lost in
it just bothers me because I'm like, Harmony's right there. Go stake her. She don't got the ring on no more. Get her off of here so that way she doesn't possibly be a threat for later.
It's one of my, I love that shot, but the same thing. Like, it is really annoying, but I do really like it because of what it represents, and I like all three of them going in different directions. Yeah. But yeah, makes no sense.
Well, hopefully they all head into better new directions as we head into the themes and metaphor for this episode. I love when I can do a good segue. The Harsh Light of Day is about what happens when fantasy gives way to reality. Throughout the episode, we watch 3 different women confront the moment where what they hoped intimacy would mean doesn't match what it actually becomes. Buffy believes Parker represents something that she's never really had before. After everything that happened with Angel, the idea of a normal human relationship feels like a safe alternative. Parker is human, he exists in the daylight, and on the surface, he offers the kind of uncomplicated experience Buffy has always wanted, but never been able to keep. But the morning after exposes the truth that Parker wasn't building towards a relationship. He was simply enjoying the moment. What Buffy experiences isn't just a heartbreak. It's the realization that emotional vulnerability can hurt just as much in the normal world as it does in her supernatural one. The same imbalance shows up in the other relationships around her. Harmony believing that giving Spike whatever he wants will make him care about her. But Spike isn't looking for connection. He's bored. He's lonely after losing Drusilla. And Harmony happens to be there. Where Harmony sees the possibility of affection, Spike only sees convenience. With Xander and Anya, the episode flips the dynamic in a different direction. Anya approaches sex like a logical next step because she has spent over 1,000 years witnessing relationships only at their worst. When they fall apart and vengeance follows. She has no understanding of the emotional buildup that usually comes before intimacy. Meanwhile, Xander, who has spent years talking confidently about women and attraction, suddenly finds himself intimidated by the emotional reality of it. All 3 stories revolve around the same misconception, the idea that the physical closeness will automatically create emotional closeness. Instead, each of them is left feeling confused, rejected, or disconnected. Even Spike's pursuit of the gem of Amara reflects our themes. The ring would allow him to exist freely in the sunlight, removing one of the fundamental limitations of being a vampire. In a way, everyone in the episode is chasing their own version of what freedom is, hoping there's a way to experience connection without the vulnerability that comes with it. But by the harsh light of day, it exposes the truth, and there isn't a shortcut around that risk. That's all. That's it. I had to write about everybody because I was like, fuck, there's so much going on with our people this episode. But I like following a few people because usually we're like seeing sideline stuff happening for character development or like other characters, but they took time to develop Anya, Harmony, and obviously Buffy, because she is who we're following through the series. Even Spike, in a weird way, developed his ass going into the next episode too. Now we can get into our final slays.
Final slays.
I don't have a final slays today. We're here. These are the final slays. All right, what do you guys got for quotes this episode? Whoever wants to go.
After you.
Okay.
A gentleman, what we saw on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I know, right? It's the opposite energy that we experienced. My first one was when Anya walked into Giles' apartment, I guess you could call it. And she said, "You should lock the door." And Giles responds with, "Believe me, I'm kicking myself." Willow mocking Harmony from the past and saying, "Oh, he goes to another school. You wouldn't know him." And then Buffy to Spike when she was making fun of the two of them together. And she said, "And you with Harmony, did you lose a bet?"
I love that.
Love those. Those are on my list as well. But I do also have the Buffy laugh as well. It's not a quote, but the way she did it, the way she delivered it. And also the Anya telling Giles to go away. It's just like, I want to speak to Sandra, go away.
So
Get out of here.
It's just the principle of it, like what's happening and occurring. You're like, bitch, what the fuck are you talking about? I like where Buffy was like, "What's the matter? Did you dump you again?" And he's like, "Maybe I dumped her." And then like Harmony comes up behind and she's like, "She left him for a fungus demon." I'm just like, oh God. Like he was trying to like surmise like this whole fabrication, and she did not let him have that moment. And then obviously she does what she does later. It was just like all these interruptive moments by Harmony. I'm like, Harmony, get the fuck on. I like when Spike says, "I came back to Sunnydale, a place that has witnessed truly spectacular kickings of my ass." That was what I meant to say earlier that I could not remember. And Buffy talking about Harmony must be dying without a reflection. That was funny. And then my last one is Harmony. Whenever Spike rips the necklace off the skeleton and cracks his neck, she goes, "Ew, like you're too good to work a clasp." It's like Harmony. Who would you guys award Shining Slayer to for the episode?
Buffy.
I'm giving it to Harmony. I mean, I just for me, she's the thing that really shines out this episode, stands out to me. This episode is Harmony.
Okay.
All of her lines, all of her outfits. She actually had better outfits than Buffy as well.
Yes.
I mean, she was.
Yeah,
she had the best lines and she had the best outfits.
She had a good bit of attention this episode. It was what a comeback for Mercedes McNabb. I'm sure she was so excited to get to like do all this and like continue her journey on the show. I like yours. I couldn't choose Buffy. So I chose Willow upon sitting with it because I was like, for her being super supportive, both initially and after the math with Buffy, like she was like giving her the thumbs up. She's like, "Let me girl talk with you. Like, how was it with Parker last night?" She's just being such a great supportive friend to Buffy and trying to gas her up to, because she wants to see her friend happy after seeing her miserable for years, like, and all the other stuff. Like she really knows. But then at the very end, also kind of just telling Buffy what she needed to hear, not what she wanted to hear type stuff too. Like, even though Buffy wasn't hearing it, I had to give it to Willow for Shining Slayer this one. So I like it. We all had a different woman. Weekly wigs. I just put the treatment of women.
Basically, in a nutshell, yeah, same.
Yeah.
What slayed for you guys, other than Harmony's outfits? Or Spike slaying her, or Harmony in general getting slayed.
I mean, in a real sense, for the show's aspect, it slayed obviously that Buffy got the ring and then had the idea to be like, no, let's give this to Angel, because if it's going to go to any vampire, it should be that one. But also, I kind of give it to Anya for just showing up and dropping her clothes, because I'm like, that's kind of slayed. Like, you knew what to do. One, we'll give it to you. And number two, I still don't know how she did what to do.
Right.
So I'm like, for you to get there on your own and be like, "Girl, I'm gonna," and it does take a certain level of confidence just to like literally walk in someone's room and be like, "Here I am, take it or leave it," kind of thing, you know? Because he could have been like, "I'll leave it," and then she got to put her dress back on
and walk back out awkwardly. She already had her shoes on, so she was good there.
She kept those on for a reason, in case she had a dash.
Yeah. Plus he's on fucking stone in the basement, so he has no carpet anywhere, so she don't want her feet to be cold.
True.
That's a bleak basement to live in.
Sad.
Really gross. For that Slade part for me, I would say, yeah, Buffy kicking the crap out of Spike after the Angel comment. And also, I really liked the part where Spike says, yeah, take this ring off me and we both burn, and she's like, yeah, let's see, and she just rips it off him
because he could have not
no
been
shit's
lying.
given.
Like he's like, take it off me this way. Yeah, that could have that's like she did it anyway. She was like, well, sacrifice. She also knew that he was bullshit because it's fucking Spike, but there was a chance. There was a chance. So honestly, I chose Spike staking Harmony as my that Slade moment. Reason being, even though it was a dick move, we didn't expect that to occur out of all his frustration. So I was like, whoa, being taken aback by that, like the surprise of it kind of slayed to me. But also, like, obviously, I don't want to put this out because I wrote that differently than I just read it. I think it slays the fact that she had the ring on unknowingly and survived this moment. So it slays to me that Harmony is still around when she could have not been. Another thing, just like it could have or could have not.
It was an accidental.
Yeah, so thankfully, what her stake, like getting stake, was just like a moment that like gave you a bunch of things to kind of feed off of. So that's why it's slayed. I'm gonna add in. I did it right now while y'all were talking because it's gonna be a funny one for this specific episode and never again. But who did you hate most this episode?
Parker.
Just so we could all say that because I wanted us and everyone to know we're all in agreement here. All right, Slayer predictions. Next episode is called Fear Itself. It's a Halloween episode, and that's what I keep telling you. So,
ooh. Well, that's exciting. Are there costumes involved? Okay. Are we becoming the costumes again?
Will we remark it? Yes.
I don't know. Obviously, it being a Halloween episode and it's Buffy, that can really be anything. That's pretty vague. That can
Halloween,
literally be anything.
College,
I don't know.
How does that arrive at that type of space versus like where they were the last time? We also didn't have a Halloween episode last season. Spoiler alert: we don't have one for season 5. We kind of do Halloween episodes every other season on the show. Just to throw out there. So after this one, we really only have one more visitation to Halloween, but. It gives in the essence of what happened last time, not to keep you guessing, because of something fucked up of them turning into their costume can happen on Halloween, and usually Halloween's supposed to be the one night where like, you know, vampires aren't out, like they take the night off type vibe we learned from that episode. Spike was like, nobody goes out on Halloween, why would we, what's gonna happen? Oh, Ethan Rain happened, so something still happened. Ethan Rain's not a part of it, I'll give you that as a clear out. But we have the option of something bullshitty happening because it's Sunnydale, it's this show and stuff like that too. But I will say it's a very fun and unique way to do it, and more than anything, it's just a fun episode to experience. It's not like overly detrimental or anything like that. It's got that, and also Tyler Austin will be returning with us to do that one because he is our resident do the Halloween episode person. So just like Frank's our resident Xander episode person. The place where everyone wants to be, truly, honestly. All right, well, thanks for tuning in for our coverage of this episode of Buffy. How do you all feel about this one? Are you frustrated with how Buffy handles the aftermath with Parker, or do you feel like she's reacting to the emotional fallout from everything that happened with Angel? Does Buffy get wrapped up too quickly, or is this just part of the uncomfortable side of learning and becoming an adult? What do you think about Anya's return and the beginning of whatever this dynamic with Xander could be becoming? Do you enjoy seeing that development start here? And what about Xander in the situation? Is he handling it reasonably, or does he completely fumble the emotional reality Anya is bringing to the table? And finally, Harmony is officially a vampire. Were you shocked by that reveal when you first watched it? Do you love the development for her character but hate the way that we see Spike treat her? Is Harmony chasing affection that was never really there to begin with? Let us know all the things across all three of the dynamics. What do you think, though, that each of them could do differently? I felt like that was an important one to ask for everyone. We've already reflected past that, so we can't, but you guys let us know. Do you think any of these situations could have turned out better, or were they always going to end this way? Chris, thanks again for coming back and sharing your insights with us for the episode, obviously for hanging out and stuff and having some fun, for gassing up Harmony more than any fucking person I've ever heard gas up Harmony. Yeah.
Maybe I'll come back for Harmony episodes.
Honestly, I know which one you're coming back for season 5. Okay, cool. Sweet. I love that. All right. Well, before we wrap up, if you want to tell everyone what you've been up to lately, if you're working on anything interesting currently, and where they can find you online.
Well, today is actually the 29th anniversary of Buffy.
Yes, that was written on my notes earlier that I did not say.
So, I mean, I've been drawing Buffy, as my Instagram account suggests. I BuffyDood. So yeah, I've just been doing lots of Buffy drawings. I've been dabbling with a bit more like realistic like interpretations of episodes, but usually it's very cutesy, silly, a female representation, as you suggested last time. What, as a 12-year-old girl, didn't you? Yeah. I'm not. I'm a 14-year-old man. And yeah, I'm going to the screening of Ready or Not 2 in 2 weeks' time.
Oh, fun.
And I'm hoping Sarah Michelle Gellar will be there. So yeah, that's what's
Nice.
coming up. So I'm going to have some content on
You can
my
meet her a
Instagram
second time.
when I go there.
Yeah.
So yeah, follow me to see what I get up to.
I love it. And that's BuffyDood, BuffyDood. I'll link him in our description so that way you guys can find him if you don't already follow him. All right, everyone. We'll be back next week as we continue this arc and head into our first Buffy Angel crossover episode, following Spike over to Los Angeles as he goes after Angel and the Gem of Amara. Catch you all next time. And until then, please, please, please stay away from fuckboys.
What's the matter, Spike? Drew dump you again?
Maybe I dumped her.
She left him for a fungus demon. That's all he talks about most days.
We are going. It isn't time yet.
Yeah, but as soon as we have the Gem of Amara, you're gonna be so... What?
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Buffy on Revamped. Remember to join us next week for a new episode release as we continue our journey through Sunnydale along with our Scoobies. We would love to hear from you, so share your thoughts. Discuss with us your perspectives on this or previous week's episodes by following us on Instagram and sending us a DM at revamped_rewatch podcast, or by emailing us at revampedrewatchpod@gmail.com.
And if you're interested in a world left behind, check out my show, Echoes of Elsewhere, an urban exploration podcast where I uncover the hidden mysteries of forgotten places, interview other explorers, and share with you my tips and tricks of the trade. Subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time,
the Earth is definitely doomed.
This podcast is dedicated to the Buffyverse, to its fans, and my sister, Tiffany Dawn Pearson.